this weekend as well, and you can hear them all right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB and your family of networks. Coming up tonight, right here on Sports Radio 810, we got a Chiefs tailgate show at 6 o'clock, and then the AAC Conference Championship game, Tulane and Army. That comes up tonight at 7 o'clock. And then tomorrow and Sunday, we got jam-packed for you. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, it is the pregame for Arizona State, Iowa State. 11 o'clock kick right here on Sports Radio 810, leading into pregame of the SEC Championship game. 3 o'clock kick then for Georgia and Texas, leading in to the Big Ten Championship game, Penn State and Oregon, all right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, and over on 1510, we got the ACC Championship game on ESPN Kansas City at 7 o'clock, SMU and Clemson, and on into Sunday, where we got the KU-MU game, pregame at 10:30, tip at noon, leading into Bills and Rams at 3:25, leading into Westwood One Sunday Night Football pregame show, leading into the Red and Gold postgame show with Jack Johnson, and over on 1510, Cleveland and Pittsburgh at noon, Bears and 49ers at 3:05. So I don't know if you're driving around and you want to listen to football, all the things going on. I'd say 810 ESPN Kansas City probably has you covered.
They have you.
Yeah. The home of everything that's swell is what Todd Lebo said about 810.
And it's a good chance I'll be listening because on Saturday I'm moving. I got to move. I picked Saturday instead of Sunday to rent the U-Haul. I'm moving houses, and so just a little behind the scenes.
You painting houses this weekend? Good for you.
If you've seen my clothes,
stay on Sterling's good side. It turns out he paints houses. All right, go ahead.
I don't paint houses, but we're doing a lot of work, and
I don't paint houses per se, but I paint houses.
No, I don't paint houses. I had someone paint, but we'll do a lot of the. It's just I'm living out of a closet basically, right? Which is, I guess, most people live out of closets, but I'm living out of a suitcase basically But I picked the day for the U-Haul for Saturday. No one cares, so that way I can watch and listen to all the swell things on Sunday. Right. Because Saturday I will be covered in dust.
Yeah, I'll be listening as well. We got a couple of basketball games and then a basketball tournament in the afternoon. So
hey, Jason, what are you doing Saturday?
Watching football, listening to football, and watching my son and daughter both play basketball.
Dylan, what are you doing Saturday?
Chilling.
Not Sunday,
anything.
Saturday.
Chilling.
What'd you say?
Anything.
Oh, anything like help me move. Thank you, Dylan.
Nah, man.
Appreciate it.
How old are you?
Hey, you got a truck?
How old are you?
I know, it's 30. The age is 29. 29 is the cutoff.
How old are you? 30?
Yeah, that's the cutoff.
But you're 30?
30, you have to
Are you 30?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Then I'm not helping you.
No, that's my point. It's a cutoff. If you're 29 and under, you can pay your friends. You pay them in beer and pizza.
Beer
you're good.
and pizza.
The second you turn 30, you have to do it yourself.
Man.
Figure it out.
Figure it out yourself. 913-912-4810. All right, the Lions get the win last night over the Packers. A fun Thursday night football game. And Dan Campbell is everything Brandon Staley wanted to be.
Oh, good call.
Dan Campbell is everything Brandon Staley was presented and packaged to be to the NFL. This guy that's going to be advanced analytics, this guy that's going to go for it a lot, smart, sometimes foolish, some would say, if it doesn't work, but smart, and it works. Because Dan Campbell gets praised a lot because he succeeds for the most part on his fourth downs. Sometimes the two-point conversions haven't necessarily worked out in their favor at times over the last couple of years.
And one was a ref issue.
Not wrong about that. But we remember the Chargers and Chiefs game with Brandon Staley that kept going for it on fourth down and kept going for it on fourth down. And Brandon Staley was highly criticized for that. Dan Campbell was 4 of 5 last night on fourth down. And major praise going to Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell is one of the few coaches that I can think of that talks a big game about toughness and grit, because that's the word they use there, grit, there in Detroit, that talks about toughness, grit, and rising to the moment and not being afraid. Just barreling in. And coaches that way. And doesn't tell his team to be, we're a tough, hard-nosed, grit team. You know, Antonio Pierce. We're going to bite their heads off. We're going to do all this. 4th and 1, let's punt it.
Yeah.
You know, we need to punt the ball. You know, it's what happens if we fail. If we don't pick up this first down. Dan Campbell's one of the few that's grit, in your face, tough, physical, rise to the challenge. We're going to take the game to them. 4th and 1, bleep you, go for it. 4th and 1, bleep you, go for it. 4th and goal at the 2, bleep you, go for it.
The Stones on Dan Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some people talk about that final drive, the final play, the 4th and 1. Now, full transparency, I was team field goal. I understood why he would go for it. If I'm playing Madden, I go for it. This is not Madden. This is for the 1 seed, basically. This was almost for the 1 seed, to an extent, or at least to win to lock up the NFC North, all that stuff. He went for it, as if he's playing Madden, because he trusts the offensive line, which is probably the best offensive line in football.
Pretty good.
The Packers' defensive line, and just in general, Zane Anderson of all players, you guys remember him from BYU.
That's my cousin.
Wasn't he the guy that was a special teamer for the Chiefs?
For the Chiefs,
yeah. He came and made a great play.
He's the one that had the holding call against the Bengals there in Cincinnati on the kickoff return.
But you just saw him.
Why is that the only thing I remember saying? I'm sorry, Zane. That's not fair.
But you saw him come in and make a ridiculously phenomenal tackle on the 3rd down that set up the 4th. And a lot of people probably say, okay, well, he did that. We're running for 3.3 yards a carry when we were traditionally dominating teams on the ground. We probably should have kicked the field goal. But Dan Campbell did not want to give Jordan Love even an ounce of hope. He didn't want to even say, you know what, you get the ball back with 40 seconds left, no timeouts. We respect you that much. We're going to win the game, not play to lose. Not play for a tie. We're going to play to win. And Stones, they got it.
Because not only did, sometimes you'll see a coach do that if they're up 7.
Sure.
With 30 seconds to go, we're up, 7, you'd probably kick the field goal and call it a day. The scenario to where you
I
would
get
go,
what you're saying. Where
you go, we'll go for it, and if we get it, we win. If we don't, they still have to go down and do this just to tie, right?
Yeah.
They still have to do
4 maybe, or up 3.
They have to do these things. Yeah, up 4 is a good one. They still have to score a touchdown to win the game.
Yeah.
Or you're up 3. They still have to get the ball from the 21 with 35 seconds left, go down there to kick the field goal just to tie the game.
Yes.
We've got multiple chances to win. We can win it right here. But instead, this was if you don't get it, Green Bay gets the ball at the 21-yard line with 35 seconds left and no timeouts. I mean, a field goal to win is what they need. If you kick the field goal, Green Bay more than likely gets the ball at the 30 with 35 seconds left and no timeouts and a field goal to tie. If you pick up the first down, you win the game.
Yeah.
Because your kicker's been pretty damn good, and they moved it 4 yards closer. So a 35-yard field goal instead of a 39-yard field goal, it's a sub-40. It's not the Broncos. They don't have a guy out there on the left side that keeps falling backwards on his ass, regardless of what one person on Twitter that says is that's the right technique. Literally the only person that I've seen say that.
If that's a right technique, then I
kept saying, you're wrong, Jason. You're wrong. Your football knowledge clearly is coming through a lack thereof. If you're thinking that's not how you're supposed to, I'm like, you're an idiot.
Well, Jason, I could be on field goal blocking duties.
You're supposed to die a slow death. Yeah, well, that guy, that was a guillotine. He didn't die a slow death. He chopped his head off. Anyway, that's besides the point. One person being dumb does not change the reality of the situation on field goal block and how you're supposed to do that. But you move up 4 yards closer, and you've got one of the best, most clutch kickers in the NFL. We love Harrison Butker, but Detroit's got a pretty damn good kicker themselves. But it's the Stones to go for that. And what the Lions have been able to do, and in this game alone, they could have very easily lost that game. They could have lost that game to the Packers. Not even just that 4th down. We talked about the Chiefs going to Buffalo, and there were 11 or 12 plays. I can go and find the notes in my pile of papers here. I can find the notes that go through and say, here are all the plays that, they didn't go the Chiefs' way. Those things happen. If a couple of them switch, then, maybe the Chiefs win. The Packers are probably thinking that as well. The Lions had 2 touchdown drives where they picked up 5 different 3rd downs.
Yeah.
They had 2 touchdown drives where they picked up 3 4th downs.
Yes.
And then they had that 4th down conversion at the end of the game.
And they did have one that they got stopped on their own 30.
Own 30, 31. Yeah. And the Packers got a touchdown out of it.
Yeah.
And they took advantage of that. So it's that play went your way. You did a hell of a job in getting that play to go your way. But the first drive of the game, the Lions convert 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 7, and 3rd and 7 was on a penalty on an incomplete pass in the end zone that would have been a field goal. But that's 4 points they gained on that 3rd and 7. Well, of course, the refs bailed out the Lions because they have gone out of their way to make sure that Jared Goff, the prodigal son, the protected quarterback in the NFL,
the team that gets all the calls throughout history,
right.
The Detroit Lions.
Yeah, couldn't have him just kick a field goal on the opening drive. Had to make sure they got a touchdown, give them 1st and goal at the 2-yard line, and then they go 4th and goal at the 2-yard line and score the touchdown right before half. That's 4 extra points they got out of that. They went for it on 4th and 1 at their own 49-yard line and 4th and goal to 3 on the same drive and scored a touchdown. That's 4 to 7 points. That could be 7 points they gain if they would have. How many coaches at their own 49-yard line in the third quarter go, you know what, let's go for it. We're up at this point. Let's go for it. No, let's play field position. Let's punt it and play field position at your own. Andy Reid probably ain't going for it. I'd love him to. I think he's more likely to go for it now than he was like 4 or 5 years ago. I'd love him to go for it in that situation. Now they quarterback sneaks, so it's not ever going to happen with Patrick Mahomes. But that's 2 different 4th down conversions and 4th down attempts that they went for, and they got it, and they gained points. Now you could say, well, they didn't get it on 4th and goal to 3. They just lost 7 points. Certainly, that's the risk you take. But field goals in this game, according to Dan Campbell, was not going to win the game.
Yes.
So we needed to score touchdowns. And if we kick 2 field goals down inside the 10-yard line, or if we convert one of those to a touchdown, we've gained a point.
Yes.
We've gained a point. We are 1 point better in that situation. We go down there, 4th and goal from the 5, we kick a field goal, we got 3 points. 4th and goal from the 5, we kick a field goal, we got 3 points. 4th and goal for the 5, we get stopped, we got no points. 4th and goal from the 5, we pick it up, we got 7 points. We are now leading 7-6 over our own decisions.
Correct.
We get both of them, now we're 8 points better than just kicking the 2 field goals.
Sure.
We get none of them,
You're down 6.
You're down 6. 6 points. It's 1 possession to get the ball back and go and score a touchdown. But field goals, not going to win this game. And as you saw, they won by a field goal at the end when they got 4 touchdown drives where they converted 5 third downs and 3 different 4th downs to be able to get those. 2 of them on 4th and goal.
They play to win. They don't play to not lose.
Yes,
right.
It's a great way to put it. I love it.
And that's how teams typically play against Kansas City is you have to play to beat them. You can't try and let them make the mistake because they don't make the mistake, right? So if you're looking at this in totality, Detroit is that team that I don't want them to play Kansas City because this is how they play. This is how teams try and play Kansas City already, but Detroit's prepared to play this way.
They played against almost anybody.
And so I left this game going, both these two teams are Super Bowl contenders. Green Bay Packers, hat tip to you. You're on the road. You lose by 3. You play a great game. Your run defense has been outstanding over the past few weeks.
Could have been better inside the goal line on David Montgomery scoring a touchdown and Jahmyr Gibbs getting that passing touchdown. Could have been better overall in fantasy football, but whatever.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I went against David Montgomery in fantasy, so I get you there.
I went against Montgomery, Gibbs, and Tucker Kraft, so
no
big deal.
You held him to 3.3 yards a carry.
AH.
You held Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs to 3.3 yards a carry on 29 carries between those two guys.
Yeah, couldn't keep him out of the end zone.
That 1 touchdown on the ground and 1 through the air, but they're gonna get.
I'm being salty.
My point is,
Sterling, let me lead my league in points, and if I lose this week, I'm out of the playoffs. Let me be that guy that's really annoyed at how stupid fantasy football is and how it's all based on luck. You can build the best team.
Next up, we're going to talk about Jason's dreams, things that no one cares about.
Just sit here and sing like Otis Redding.
But
I've got dreams. Go ahead.
I'm very impressed with both these two teams. Their aggressiveness, their red zone success. Honestly, the points scored I don't think represents how good their defense has played at times throughout this game. Jordan Love not having an interception again. I know Detroit's defense is completely banged up. They have 13 players on IR.
A lot of those
on
defensive
defense
linemen
alone
too. I would say also they stepped up pretty good because Josh Jacobs. I thought this might be a 100-yard, 110, 120-yard game for Josh Jacobs because the Packers were going in saying we're going to keep the ball out of the Detroit Lions' hands. They are banged up in their front 7. we are good. And Josh Jacobs has been one of the best running backs in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
We are just going to run Josh. And they did. They handed
Yes.
it to him a lot.
18 times.
18 times. What did he end up, like 60 yards?
66 yards,
Yeah.
3 touchdowns. He was great in the red zone.
If you'd have told me he was getting the ball 18 times, I would have guessed at minimum 90, maybe 100 yards rushing. I wouldn't have guessed the 3 touchdowns, but I would have said, like, between the 20s, this guy's going to eat.
Yes.
But, you know, he didn't as much as I thought he would, and that's a credit to Detroit and figuring out a way to overcome some of those injuries in that game. Now, I can't stand the fact that Branch left the game early with the calf injury because they play the Bills next week.
Yeah, and he's a great player.
Yeah. Like, are you kidding me? They're like, well, you know, he's been hobbled here in the second half with the calf injury. Get him out of the game. I'm telling you, I'm like, get him out of the game. Get him out of the game. He's still running around. I'm like, get him out of the game. Then you see him laying down, and they're looking at the calf, and then he's barely walking off. I'm like,
Yeah.
get him out of the game. You don't need him against the Packers. You need him against the Bills.
This
At least to
NFC
me. I know you guys care about, it's a division game. You're not thinking about us in Kansas City. That's pretty selfish for the Lions to think about themselves only.
Is this the best division
Yes.
in recent memory? Like in the past
Yeah.
20 years? I'm trying to think
The
of.
Packers, as good as they are, going to finish third? How many divisions in the NFL this year do the Packers win if they're not in the NFC North, the way that they're playing?
They don't win
They don't win the East.
the North. They might win the NFC East. They might beat the Eagles. Although I think the Eagles are a really good team.
They win the West. They win the South. There's 2.
Yeah.
They win the AFC South.
Yes.
They win the AFC North. I think they do.
Probably.
I think they
Over
knock
the
off-
Ravens.
and Pittsburgh.
Probably.
So that's 4. I
Yeah.
don't know that
They're a really
Yeah.
good team. I think, but they showed me because they originally had the NFC.
they
as,
certainly don't finish third
No, they do not.
in all of these different divisions.
To me, it's Detroit is the cream of the crop. NFC, they're 1. I had the Eagles 2, and I kind of had more Detroit Eagles as 1A, 1B because I think the Eagles are playing really good football, a little under the radar ever since they put Cooper DeJean into the slot at corner. That defense has taken off.
Yeah, they got the pieces.
But Green Bay has shown they deserve to be in that category. I'm still a little confused about the Vikings. I don't know where to rank them in the pantheon of the NFC, but as of now, I think Green Bay deserves the credit, even in a loss, to be put in the same category at least as Detroit and Philly.
Yeah, they would win the South. They'd win the West in the NFC for sure, and I think they'd win the South and they would win the North in the AFC. But you know, can't prove that. But they've been a pretty good team this year. Let's hear real quick before we go to break. Let's hear Ryan Clark. This was this morning on Get Up, talking about Dan Campbell, and I agree with him on this point on Dan Campbell going for it on that 4th down instead of kicking a field goal and just saying, all right, we're going to kick a field goal because if we get stopped, boy, that post-game press conference is going to be brutal. But here's Ryan Clark weighing in on Dan Campbell and that specific 4th down decision to ultimately win the game.
There's one coach in the entire NFL that makes that decision. And it's not about the cachet of your resume. It's not about the cachet of your career. It's about the cachet of your decision making. When he was 3, 13, and 1, that's the dude he was.
Yeah.
When he was 8 and 9, that's the dude he was. When he was in the NFC Championship, that's the dude he was. And because he's been that dude consistently, you have a team that's going to go out and play that way and understand that and try to make you right as much as they possibly can. But the same way we sat up here on those 2-point conversions against the Dallas Cowboys last year and questioned him, we would have questioned him again. The same way we came in here after the NFC Championship and questioned him, we would have questioned him again. But we would walk away the same way we walk away every time. What do we say? But that's Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
It's the right decision for Dan Campbell. It's the wrong decision for everybody else.
I don't know that it's the I think I see what he I guess I understand at the end what he's trying to say, like maybe in the mind of coaches it's the wrong decision. I think it's the right decision for lots of teams out there to do that, to, you know, approach it that way. I don't know, if the Chiefs and Bills were in that specific situation in Buffalo a couple of weeks ago, not Bills up by 2 with 2.5 minutes to go,
Tied game,
and
though,
4th and 2.
exact same situation.
Tie game,
Yeah.
40 seconds to go.
Chiefs are not going for it. Chiefs are kicking the field goal guaranteed.
But Sean McDermott and the Bills have the ball, and it's 4th and 2. Same situation with Lions and Packers last night.
Yeah.
Bills have the ball because we know they went for it. They were up 2. It was 4th and 2. There was still 2.5 minutes
Bills,
to go in
I think,
that game.
would go for it in this situation because, and I think a big part would be because of the 13-second game. I think in the back of their mind that they would have to, knowing they're going to play again for the win and to play not lose.
I don't know that Sean McDermott in a tie game goes for that on 4th and 2.
We know the Chiefs
With
don't.
43
We know
seconds
we,
left.
we know the Chiefs
Right,
don't.
yeah. I don't think Sean McDermott does. I think he kicks the field goal.
I think
and puts
Sean
his
does against
defense out
KC.
there. Yeah.
I think
the
it's
right
Chiefs
decision.
specific.
The right decision would be Sean McDermott going for it there. And you're right. Maybe the 13-second has colored his views differently against that specific team. That they did it with 13 seconds. They can go down and score with 35 seconds left and get a field goal, and then it's a coin flip or whatever. It's not in the postseason, so a touchdown does not, keep the touchdown ends the game in the regular season. This isn't the postseason, so coin flip. You know what? Let's win it right here. We'll pick up the first down. We'll take a knee and kick a field goal, and the game is over.
Teams do matter. I mean, you're not doing it against the Raiders. I was going to say Aiden O'Connell, even though he tore up Kansas City through the air, but like Aiden O'Connell, you don't expect to get 40 yards in 40 seconds with no timeouts. Patrick, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, there are certain teams that can get that done. Jordan Love and the Packers are one of those teams. The Bills are one of those teams.
You're not doing it against the Giants because the Giants aren't going down and scoring. Because their offense is terrible. Like, well, we'll just kick a field goal here because their offense isn't going to move the ball anyway. So we're good.
The risk is not worth the reward in that situation. Yes.
Right, because we'll just kick the field goal, go up by 3, and they can have the ball. That's fine. But we're not going to go for it, get stopped, and then they get stopped, and now we go into overtime, and now we're a one crazy play away. Like that Panthers game, it's like, wow. I mean, I know they scored, and I had full confidence the Chiefs were going to go down and kick a field goal. But while I had full confidence that was going to happen, they were still one screwy play away from losing that game against the Panthers. They put themselves in that situation to where their margin for error evaporated, even though they set themselves up in the fourth quarter to where the Panthers had no margin for error. It's just they took advantage of those. They did not have an error along the way. They've put a number of teams in a position of zero margin for error, and those teams have made an error, and that has turned out to be people saying the Chiefs are lucky. Or, they're fluky, but they've set teams up to not be able to make a mistake or the game is over, and those teams have made mistakes because that's what happens in the NFL. There is no perfect team. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. We'll talk some Chiefs-Chargers, the bigger picture in the AFC with a win or a loss for the Chiefs, and certainly there's a lot of conversation around DJ Humphries and what is a reasonable expectation to him and his performance, and does he start this weekend? And we'll also talk about KU-MU coming up on Sunday, K-State in action against St. John's and Rick Pitino tomorrow. So we got some college basketball we'll talk about, certainly some college football on the docket as well. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. We head up until 2 o'clock. DJ Humphrey starting on Sunday? I say yes. I say he's starting. We'll ask Matt Derrick this at 11 o'clock as well.
I trust Matt.
So you're not going to answer until you hear from Matt?
I want to hear Matt.
Oh.
I'm going to talk to my lawyer first.
If you were to guess what Matt would say, Sterling, since you're going to agree with Matt, whatever he says.
Part of me...
What he texted me about you this morning. I don't know that you'd want to agree with Matt on that one.
Probably not.
But what do you think? Just take a guess. Throw a dart right now.
Part of me
he
thinks
starts or
that
he doesn't.
Wanya Morris starts, and then depending on how he does, they'll have a quick pull on Wanya.
Okay.
That because
I can see that.
It's something
that
that you
said.
said.
Week, yeah.
It's something that you said that stands out. It's Charles Min, who had to play, he played 50% of the snaps, and that was a huge thing for him. But DJ Humphries isn't playing 50% of the snaps. You want him to play 100%, right? If he's starting, you want to play 100%. You're not going to start him and then pull him out halfway through. No, if anything, you'd have him come
rotate
in
left
the
tackles.
second half. Yes. If you don't have one left tackle, or if you have two left tackles, you have no left tackles.
That's right.
But
well, that's what they had at the beginning of this year, and we found out they didn't have one.
I almost say one more week.
Yeah. So DJ Humphrey starts next week, but Wanya Morris goes this week, or
at least
Wanya
starts
Morris,
this
okay, I see what
week.
you're saying.
But
yeah.
I think very quick pull on Wanya.
The only way that I think physically he'll be ready to go. I think physically they'll put him out there and say, "Let's go," because there are offensive linemen that don't play preseason games. Now I know training camp you hit. You put the pads on during training camp, so it's a little bit different. Teams have the joint practices, a little bit different. I get it. But there are also training camps that for 2-3 weeks don't hit, and then they go in and play the game, first game of the season. And DJ Humphries has been in the league for a long time, knows what to expect. And if he was a rookie or something like that, then I'd be a little more concerned. And it does not bother me that, people are like, well, hold on, this guy hasn't been on a team all year, and you expect him to come in and play? Well, is there that much of a difference from Charles Omenihu not playing? Now, I know outside of the
snap counts.
Yeah, snap counts and outside of the rotational thing. But just like effectiveness. Like, hold on. Well, nobody questions Charles Omenihu. Like, he's ready to go. Put him in there. Let's go. Get Charles Omenihu ready to go. Put him out there. Let's go. But nobody said, hold on, Charles Omenihu hasn't played all this year because he's been working out with the Chiefs. Where Donovan Smith has been working out on his own.
Yeah.
They're like Kareem Hunt played almost right away. And he was running like, wow, this is really surprising of Kareem Hunt playing running back like this. Now, he eventually wore down. But at the beginning, it was like, hold on, this guy didn't go through training camp at all. Chris Jones didn't go through training camp and went out there and played. Again, those are rotational players.
And that's, I think, what it comes down to. I think the rotational aspect of it, because if Charles would have came out and been flat, you'd just say, okay, just play more Dana.
Yeah.
If Kareem Hunt came out and was flat, you'd say, all right, I don't know. You
got to go.
Grab someone else, or Carson Steele, or Samaje Perine. But if DJ Humphries comes out flat, then you're having to go back to Wanya. It's almost like in baseball, it's the potential. You're so focused on potential. Once you get him in the majors, the potential's gone. Once you see DJ Humphries in action, and if he does not look good, that shine, the hope for the left side is gone.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the case, but
can he pick up a stunt? Because he's already better there.
Yeah.
I mean, you've already improved your offensive line if he can just recognize a stunt instead of riding the defensive end all the way into Joe Tooney and then going, oh, bleep, that guy's already passed me.
Yeah.
Because, unfortunately, that's both tackles are doing that. So if you could have one tackle that can recognize a stunt, a game by the defensive line, that'd be pretty badass. That would be one heck of a step up. I don't really think you need to understand pass protection all that much and know the verbiage from the Chiefs to know, well, I got this guy one-on-one, and he's crashing down, and I can see that he's not even looking at the quarterback. He's just going to hit Joe Tooney. I should probably already start my kick step back.
Yeah.
Because this defensive tackle is probably going to become – I bet he could probably recognize that a little bit quicker. Jawan Taylor should be able to recognize that a little bit quicker, but he doesn't. That's a problem. I don't expect Wanya Morris to recognize that all that much because he didn't even play left tackle in college, So, but still, you would think he'd be improved a little bit. Can DJ Humphries do that? Hey, that's a step up already. That would be great. I think when it comes to just simply pass blocking and getting in his set and techniques, that's the one thing that I thought was interesting. What Matt Nagy said about DJ Humphries yesterday is, we'll take a break. I want to get this quote real quick. Said he has a lot of reps. You can see in practice, you see the technique and the fundamentals and the foundation is there. So it's like, look, in practice, we see how he's pass blocking, the technique he's using. That guy's going to be good. Can we get him out there right now? I think they are leaning at the tape of the race to get DJ Humphries out there, especially with a little bit of the urgency that we saw last week when Wanya had to be taken out of the game and Mahomes chucking the football over to the sideline.
You think Patrick has final say on this? If it's close, hey, Patrick, who do you trust?
I bet Patrick's probably telling Matt Nagy and Andy Heck and Andy Reid that I'll make sure he knows the protections.
Yes.
We're good to go. Let's put the former Pro Bowler there at left tackle and see what we got. More Zone next.
888-400-9741 to get started.
Welcome back into the zone. On this Red Friday, Chiefs and Chargers at Arrowhead Stadium. Sunday night football should be a lot of fun, but we've also got championship games and all the leagues getting going tonight and tomorrow, and it's a great time to talk to Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. Now, Lee, we've already gone through Locktober and November, but the calendar has turned. What do we have now?
Double down December.
Yeah.
And what a week we had last week. From Thanksgiving Day all the way through Monday night, went 15-3. One of our greatest weekends. So if you got on for the turkey shootout, you also went 10-5. So those games were predetermined. We put those up starting on Tuesday. A few things changed. Phone service usually does a little bit better, but 15-3 kind of says it all. So if you want to get every game from today all the way through December 31st, that's 4 weeks of action. If you use coupon code SAVE200, not $447, brings the price all the way down to just $247. So if you're used to those, Cyber Monday deals and all the different deals everyone has out there, this is right up there. Save 200, lowercasing SAVE and the number 200. Do not put a space between the word and the number. Save 200, just $247 for 4 weeks of our phone service. Just one place, ParamountSports.com.
That sounds great. Double down December. And we do have a lot of stuff. We have college football and we got pro football this week. Championship games. This will be wild. Let's start off with a game that will be Saturday night. Clemson has a chance to sneak back in the playoff because of Miami's loss. So now they're going to be playing SMU, but SMU is favored. SMU has really impressed me this year. This is a wild one because we just don't – these teams haven't played each other. SMU's new to the league. What do you think about this?
Yeah, looking at Clemson, so the last 4 games with, I'd say, average to above average teams, Pitt, Virginia Tech, Louisville, South Carolina. Quarterback Cade Klubnik, he passed for just 6 yards per pass attempt. If you spread that out over the season, that's bottom 15 in the country. I mean, that's right in there with teams like Rice, Sam Houston State, and UConn. On the other side, Kevin Jennings, quarterback for SMU, who was not projected to be the starter, projected to be Preston Stone, but he had the yips, and he still, I don't think, can throw the ball 10 yards straight. The kid Kevin Jennings took over in the 4th game of the season. Well, what has he done? Well, only reeled off 9 straight wins. He's averaging 9.3 yards per pass attempt. That's top 10 in the country. And they've scored every game he started between 28 and 66 points here. Their defense only allowed 13 points the last 2 weeks versus Virginia and Cal. And as a dog or single-digit favorite, SMU 4-0 against the spread this year. I like SMU. I think they take down Clemson here, even with probably 35,000, 40,000 Clemson fans. SMU 28-24.
Yeah, the interlopers who aren't even getting any TV money would come in and win the league. Nope. That would be wild. All right, so we've got another new team to a league, Texas. Their schedule was pretty easy for them.
Yep.
The one time they got beat up pretty bad was at home by Georgia. They got to play them again. Georgia was already in this game, despite what was going to happen with Georgia Tech. But second time around, will this be any different? Texas is favored in the game.
It's crazy if they can meet a third time. It's possible,
yeah.
Which we don't want to see. But I think Texas, who was out physical first game versus Georgia, I think they learned their lesson. And if you watch their game against Texas A&M, they dominated. That score should have been like 27-3, 27-0, 30-0. If that would have been the case, this line would be 5.5, 6 points. So you might be even getting value laying less than a field goal here. I know Georgia is at home, but I'm looking at this team, and they're not in the top 25. This was shocking in any major offensive or defensive statistical category. None. And they're not even close to the same teams that won national championships here. I think Texas is going to expand the use of Arch Manning here. Last week, just 3 rushes, 14 yards, and a touchdown. They use him as a running quarterback. I think you're going to see more wrinkles here in him throwing the football because obviously Quinn Ewers not 100%. And the favorite, 25-6 straight up in SEC championship games. Yeah, I know Georgia has that home field advantage, but I think Texas gets their revenge, 31-21.
Now, in that game, whoever loses may probably still be in the playoff. We'll see. This next one, probably not. Arizona State and Iowa State. This is a winner-take-all to go to the playoff. The way the standings went this last week, things could change. Doubtful, though. Arizona State, another new team to a league. They are red hot right now. But Iowa State's got a little more experience in these type of games. What do you think here? Arizona State is favored.
You know, if they had Jordan Tyson, I might go with Arizona State. This is the toughest of the 3 games to pick out. This receiver only had 75 catches for 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns. That's a big loss here. Arizona State played a lot of teams when they weren't, teams have the ups and the downs, the ebbs and the flows of the season. They were not in a good place mentally. And also their 2 losses were on the road. Iowa State had to play the last 6 games versus opponents who I thought were coming into the game, they were at highs and playing well. Last 6 games were also played in cold weather in Iowa. 4 of the games, 1 in Kansas City, 1 at Utah. So they seem to have regained their early season mojo. Iowa State's strength is passing offense. Rocco Beck. Arizona State's weakness, pass defense, ranked number 75, and I love these 2 receivers for Iowa State, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, combined for 15 touchdowns here. And Iowa State has not been a dog since week 2 versus Iowa. They won that game 20-19 here. Arizona State also has not faced Iowa State's 3-3-5 defense before. I think the wrong team's favored. Iowa State 30-26.
That would be their first conference championship. Be a big one for them, and they'd make it into the playoff. All right, we're talking to Lee Sterling for Paramount Sports. Double Down December is underway. You can save $200 by using the coupon code SAVE200 to get the Double Down December all the way through the end of the year. Let's talk a little NFL. The Buffalo Bills have 2 hard games on the road coming up. This one's not quite as hard because it's not Detroit. That's coming up next week. But the Rams are playing for a lot, and the Rams are one of these teams that can kind of get things done. The Bills are favored by over a field goal on the road at the Rams.
So if you think this offense for Buffalo is pretty good outside, wait till you put them in a dome. They scored 30-plus points in 6 straight games. 4 of those games were in Buffalo, and 1 was in Seattle. Josh Allen has this offense clicking on all cylinders, and now they're going to be playing in 68, 70-degree dome weather here. And the over, 5-1-1 in Buffalo's last 7 games. And that's the only direction I think you look here in this game. The Rams' defense gave up 37 points to the Eagles 2 weeks ago. And, Buffalo's capable of replicating the Eagles' game plan here. The Bills don't have Saquon Barkley, but they have a trio of running backs that are just crushing teams right now. The Rams' defense, number 24 in expected EPA per play allowed here. I like the Bills big here. I think they win this game here 34-24.
Yeah, they're a hot team, and the Chiefs are just barely in front of them in the standings. Every game has been hard for the Chiefs. This is Sunday Night Football. The Chargers have mostly been good. They haven't, obviously a couple weeks ago against the Ravens it didn't go as well for them, but they played the Chiefs really tough early in the year. Harbaugh's, kind of his footprint, his fingerprint is on the team a little bit more now than before. Chiefs are just a field goal favorite at home, so it's kind of a pick 'em here on Sunday Night Football against the Chargers.
Yeah, the Chargers' second straight road game. They played 2 consecutive road games twice this season. They lost the back end each time, losing to Pittsburgh and also to Arizona. I just thought that Kirk Cousins just gift-wrapped that game last week. In Atlanta, throwing 4 interceptions, including a pick 6 here. They bailed out the Chargers, whose offense only was 3 for 11 on third downs. They averaged just 4.5 yards per attempt, 3.3 yards per carry. Without J.K. Dobbins, I don't think they're the same here. And that was against a downtrending Atlanta defense here. The Chargers, they're more physical with Jim Harbaugh, but the Chiefs don't get enough credit here. I think they're going to run a bunch of run-heavy sets here and use the run to set up the pass this week here. And don't forget, they were also already beaten San Francisco and also Baltimore in big games this year. Kansas City, 24-17.
That would be nice for them to cover. They haven't done that in a while. All right, Lee, I know you'll have a free play for us, and tell us about Double Down December.
Yep, free play is going to be Philly and Carolina. Philadelphia is right on the heels of Detroit. So, and Carolina both teams playing really well. You want to get this game for free, be one of the first 5 callers. Call 800-400-9741. We will give you Philadelphia and Carolina on me, and you want to hop on board. Double Down December. No one hotter after going 15-3 last weekend. Just use that coupon code SAVE200, just $247 for 4 weeks of our executive phone service through December 31st. One place, ParamountSports.com.
Sounds great, Lee. Good luck this Saturday, and we will talk to you again on Chiefs Tailgate on Sunday morning. The Zone will roll on Red Friday on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I'm great. I have never seen all of the notebooks and pads together.
Oh, yeah. Well, these are all the game books of every.
Well, I've seen the game
for
books. I guess I've
Okay.
seen that. I have not seen
So I just,
the 5, 6.
So these are. So I keep all these pads with me because these are the start of the football season. So I can go back throughout the football season and look at different shows to go, you know what? I knew I took notes on that one. That was the week of the 49ers. Let me look at those notes on that one. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was the one I was talking about that this guy was pulled. At least there's somewhat of a reference as opposed if they're sitting down in my desk, it does me no good. I don't want to. Eventually, one day I may move all of these things over to like an Excel spreadsheet, but
or just use a laptop.
my laptop is not fast enough. That's the problem. It's an older laptop. It's not fast enough. I spend more money on the iPad because that's what I use throughout the entire show.
Oh, yeah.
So, rather than just, let me pull something up on Excel real quick to go get those notes, I just go, let me find it real quick. Hold on, I'll find it. I swear it's right here. It's one of these pieces of paper, and then these pieces of paper are sort of like a couple of weeks building, and then I'll go through at the end of the month and then throw the things away or refile those. So,
See, I'm a big paper guy, too. I like writing on things. I like the
Rolling it.
I like the feel of it, right? I don't like when you're done with a show, you can just crumple it and throw.
Yeah, so
right?
I don't really
love that.
I don't really crumple and throw the papers away.
Well,
I'm kind of a hoarder that way.
Yeah, you kind of are.
Yeah,
a hoarder
exactly.
a little bit.
Yes.
But
As you can tell.
What's nice with laptop is anytime you miss something like fact or fiction,
Yeah.
and it turned, I said fact, and it turned out to be fiction. You know what you can
Yeah.
do? You delete it.
Yeah, that's
and then
true.
no one knows.
That's true. See, the people on the stream, they can see like my game book that's
Yeah.
here. The camera's behind me right now. Or the camera's up there now. See, I got this every single game book of the Chiefs this year. Yeah, see that? Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah,
He is
neat.
a stage 3 hoarder.
That's that's organized.
Thank you.
I mean,
that's not organized.
Yeah, this
Oh,
is.
this is
That-
ridiculous.
that one's organized.
ridiculously
Yeah, this is-
On the
organized.
left side, that
You know how many-
has
Sterling, you've been in
lamination.
here. You've been here. You've been in here when I've done this, and I'm talking to like Field or Teicher or sometimes whether it's Matt or Cynthia, and I'll scroll through here and I'm like, they're talking. I'm like, that was the Raiders game the first go around. Let me check. that
Remember
real
when you were a
quick.
kid?
Oh, it happens all the time.
Did anyone else have this when you were a kid and your room would be messy and your parents were like, you got to clean it up or else how are you going to know where anything's at? And I'm like, well, I know where stuff's at. Ask me. This pile over here is
I know where the things are.
I know where the things are.
Yep.
That's kind of Jason, where it's like to the outside, you might think it's a crazy person doing
This
but on
might
the
be-
inside, I know it's a crazy
This
person.
might be disorganized. I get that. This might be disorganized with the pieces of paper here that I've kept for
Might be a
couple weeks.
little, but I see
Yeah.
a lot of organization there. Although, I mean, I will say my only real concern is that, you're talking about going from printed papers and notebooks and everything to an Excel spreadsheet. So you're really talking about going from like 1996 to like 2001. Because if you were in 2024, we got
Like a
apps
Google
for that.
Drive or something
we
like
got,
that?
We got
Use
cloud
use
services.
numbers.
We've got
You use
I don't know.
numbers.
I don't know, man. I just seriously, I don't know why these kids these days are doing this text thing on their phone. Just call me. Just call me.
Well, the
and
internet, is a fad. It's just a fad.
What is Dylan? What is the internet? Can you guys? What is the internet? You remember that?
They beat me to it.
Was
don't
that
even-
from
That's why I
the
tried.
Today Show?
Yeah, it was
with Bryant Gumbel.
Yep.
I had a reference this week that I made
It's like
because
Katie Couric and Bryant Gumbel, and they were talking about the internet, and it was like '93, and they're like, the producer Samantha, what is the? Can you tell? You were talking about it earlier. What is the internet that you were explaining it to us
That'd be
earlier?
at for your email sign on like the lower
it's so
third
great.
too.
Yeah.
we were having a conversation similar to this week because I think it was in talking about. It was about Dave Tobe. I don't read any of that. I don't see any of that stuff. And going back to Larry Smith at Mizzou saying I don't even have an internet.
I don't even have one of those internets.
And so that digressed into I don't even have a Twitter. I don't even have that. And Nick Jacobs chimed in with I don't even have a streaming service. Yeah,
That's right. I dabbled in MySpace the other day. I just tried to see what these kids were doing these days, and it
I
didn't,
still ask Jeeves.
as you
oh,
should.
there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, Alta Vista for life.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm going to be running around with this basketball tournament on Sunday, then I'm going to have to TiVo that Mizzou KU game. I don't know when I'll be able to catch
How
up on
did
it, but
TiVo fumble? Unless they sold the software and made a lot of money, which is also possible. But
because every other cable and satellite company decided they can integrate their TiVo into their own system.
but you thought that they would
made them
have like
obsolete.
the
DVRs are obsolete
Yeah.
now.
Well,
Right,
my point is,
exactly.
you
Yeah.
think they would have the trademark on the software or something like that?
I mean, you just come up with your own different software. I mean, you can. You can go
How
ahead
did we
and-
get here? Okay, football.
You can reverse
I
engineer
always blame
that.
myself.
Football.
This
You
is
can
Dave
reverse
Toe's
it.
fault the way I see it because it all started with me and my Dave Toe
Yeah.
reference.
You can
so
reverse engineer that. Have you seen the Madden documentary yet on Prime?
I have
the
not.
4-part documentary called "It's in the Game." It's about EA Sports, and from the beginning of creating the Madden game, choosing Madden to be the guy on the cover.
Oh, I did. I have seen it. I take that back. I have seen that.
Dude, it's so
Oh, wow.
freaking good, man. So it's about 4 parts, about 45 minutes each episode, and the fact that it just reminded me in reverse engineering, and then we'll get into some Chiefs, I promise. But the reverse engineering that EA Sports was a software company, and they only wanted to put Madden on computers. They did not want to do cartridges with, Sega that was coming out, and so they were refusing to do it until like there were a couple of people that were like, yeah, we're leaving because cartridges are the future, and so we're leaving. And he was like, all right, we'll do the cartridge. So they went and met with Sega, and Sega wanted to buy the rights to the game, and then they would get like a percentage. But EA wanted to own the entire property of the game, but they couldn't make cartridges for Sega. Sega owned the cartridges. You had to then sell your game to them. So they were reversed and engineered the entire Sega and cartridges and rebuilt one and went to Sega and said, we'll do a deal, or we'll just put our own thing out there. We own this cartridge. You can buy the cartridge from us. And EA Sports stayed with Madden, because if it wasn't for Madden, EA Sports wouldn't be around right now. I believe that. Watching the documentary, they would not be around if it wasn't for the success of Madden. There were a number of games they tried along the way that it just did not work out. Then Madden hit, and then it was like, okay, now we got some money coming in. Let's do some Paperboy, different things along the way.
Okay, I'm going to digress for one
Yes,
more second.
digress.
One more, because I would like to note that I own the first Madden game for the Apple II.
That's amazing, dude.
And it had long, manual and everything like that. But most importantly to this, it had a scroll wheel for choosing your plays. So it was like,
Weren't there like 4 or 5 plays or something?
there was more than
Were
that,
there?
but you would go through and you would put in what situation was and everything like that. What you want to kind of call and everything like that, and then you would use the scroll wheel to choose the play. And then I think there was like a code, so then it would tell you like, okay, we'll put in F324 to call your play, and so you do that and everything.
And then it was like all of that, and then it took like 3 seconds. The play was, then you did it all over again.
And then you do it all over again.
Yeah, it's
And-
unbelievable. It doesn't seem like it's fun, but at the time when there wasn't any football games or any sports games, it was like Pong and things like that.
I mean,
It's
before
like,
that,
oh
my
gosh.
buddy has the old school like game board where you have all the plays on
Oh, yeah.
one side for offense,
Oh, yeah.
defense, special teams, and you roll a die.
Some Stratomatic.
Do you
and-
guys remember the
the Stratum?
handheld one? Like
yeah.
the old
Oh,
school
yeah.
handheld where it really was, I think,
Do
only
you remember
two I think it was 2 plays.
electric football, Matt?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Electric
sweet. My
football?
dad had one of those.
Yes,
That
I
was
had one of
sweet.
Dude,
Yeah.
set those things up. There was a guy that worked for EA Sports that helped design the first Madden games, that he and his friends would play seasons
Yeah.
of electric football. They would play season-long electric football.
Which
Those
is
games would have
impressive.
to take an hour and
Yeah.
a half to play an electric football game.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I
And
learned a
throwing,
lot.
throwing was very difficult.
Okay, by the way,
Some would say
putting that little tiny rubber
tiny
football on
that's
the
it,
arm and then
trying to
flicking
flick it up.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
learned a lot. TiVo was sold for $1.1 billion.
That's pretty good.
Because Rovi acquired it, so I think they're doing okay.
They did- they
$1.1
did all right.
billion.
Okay.
And by the way, do you guys
made
want to
some
know
money.
what the most watched, recorded, and replayed moment in TiVo history was?
I think I know.
Would be
Justin Timberlake and
Yes,
the Super Bowl.
It was Janet,
Janet
Jackson.
Jackson.
It was a Janet Jackson when
pretty
when the breast was shown.
a
It's-
mishap, yeah.
That's what it says on this. The bearing of one of Jackson's breasts is actually what it
It's a
says.
wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah, well, some would say that. Yeah, that's we knew what it was. Sterling, you didn't. I don't think there was anybody listening going, Timberlake and Janet Jackson. Can Sterling give us more of a definition of this? Can you elaborate on this a little bit more?
Was
I
there
don't-
a number 2? Was Sopranos season or series finale?
Or like
anywhere
Friends?
I don't have number 2. I just
Friends,
have
series finale?
the
Yeah,
Janet
that's it, yeah.
the bearing of one of Janet Jackson's.
Yeah, cool.
And the audience reaction charts apparently looked like an electrocardiogram because apparently everyone just paused on that one moment. So, TiVo,
Wow, I feel bad for her.
we learned about that.
All right, Matt Derrick. So, how did the Chiefs keep winning like this?
Speaking of TiVo moments,
Yeah,
I mean,
is it a Ouija board? Have they sold their soul? Is this the script? Is the NFL fixing it for the mid-30s media market in America, so that they're the most they're the team that everybody pays attention to and watches? How do you explain, or do you have a theory, or is it just like crazy things happen in football, and The Minnesota Vikings won 8 one-score game 2 years ago, and last year they were like 0-7 in one-score games to start to see. Like, it's just one of those things that – and next year we'll see these bounces go the other way against the Chiefs, and nobody should be surprised if that's the case. Is there anything to explain it other than just – I mean, it's sports and things happen.
See, that's the crazy thing, because this isn't a 2024 phenomenon. This has been going on a while.
That's a good point.
When was the last time that you vividly remember a time where the Chiefs lost one of these games that was a coin flip one-score game?
The Bills and the offsides by Kadarius Toney stands out.
I mean,
it was a crazy way for that to end, and it's like, wow, they were offsides. They had one of the greatest plays ever.
D Ford.
I mean, yeah.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I'd probably put it in the same category. But there's been no reversion to the mean here. I mean, this is in these type of games. I mean, and I'm separating one-score games from, because every game in the NFL is
they've won 14 straight one-score games.
The vast majority of them are one-score games.
Yeah.
And for like that stat, what was the last streak of this long of one-score wins like that?
I don't know it.
It was, I believe, I'm trying to remember the year frame. I think it was the 04-05 Patriots. So imagine that. I mean,
a well-coached team with a good quarterback.
When it comes down to it, it's good teams that have those streaks. It's not lucky teams.
Right.
It's good teams that have those streaks. And that's the bottom line. I mean, you make your own luck. And, I mean, the Chiefs, how many of these games have they won that they weren't ahead anyway? I mean, that's part of the case. I mean, if it comes down to one play and you're ahead, it works out pretty well for you.
Well, that's what I brought up a couple days ago. Maybe it was Wednesday, maybe it was yesterday. I'm not really sure. But I went through and just looked at, the Chiefs. One of my theories was that the Chiefs through 3 quarters were making it difficult for the other team to have a margin for error in their final couple possessions. And if there's an error, which happens in a game, you lose. The Chiefs have entered the fourth quarter out of their 12 games. They've entered the fourth quarter trailing in only 3 of them. They were down by 5 to Cincinnati, and it took a field goal as time expired to win or lose. All right, if they miss it, they lose. If they make it, they win. They were down by 5 entering the fourth quarter. They were down by 7 to the Buccaneers. They had to win in overtime. They were down by 1 to Denver entering the fourth quarter. They blocked a field goal. Shocking, those games all came down to literally the last play, the only games they trailed entering the fourth quarter. The other games, they were up 10 on Baltimore. Well, they got lucky to survive Baltimore, or they had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. They gave themselves a luck margin for error. The Ravens did not. The Ravens gave themselves so small of a margin for error that a toe was not small enough for the margin for error to still be allowed for the Ravens. They were up 8 against Atlanta entering the fourth quarter. Well, it was a bad call there in the end zone. Yeah, I agree it was. It was also 4 minutes left to go, and the Chiefs would have been down 2 with the ball. That's even if they scored on first and goal from the 1-yard line. I'll give you that they scored. Oh, fine. That's fine. New Orleans, they were up 9. 49ers, they were up 9. Vegas, they were up 7. Bills, they were up 5 and they lost. Nobody's talking about how the Bills pulled out some miraculous game. They were trailing by 5 in the fourth quarter and they somehow win by 9. Well, the Bills outscored them by 14. Sort of, lucky. No, the Chiefs, their luck just ran out. They were up by 5. They were up by 11 in the fourth quarter against Carolina. Carolina scrambled to come back in that game and kick the field goal to tie it, and the Chiefs got lucky, or scored the touchdown to tie it, and the Chiefs got lucky because they went down and kicked a field goal and won the game, and they're just surviving these things. Then they're up by 6 against Vegas in the fourth quarter. So 6 of the games, they've been up by more than a score entering the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And they're winning these one-score games. 3 games they trailed in the fourth quarter, they won on the very last play. So, yes, maybe you can say they're not going to go 3-0 in games like that moving forward. And I would probably agree with you that if the Chiefs enter games in the fourth quarter trailing and it comes down to the very last play of the game, I would guess the Chiefs won't go 3-0 in those games. They did in those, and they also lost a game in which they were leading in the fourth quarter.
I mean, and I kind of talked with Nick on our live stream this week at Chiefs Digest a little bit, but here's kind of my take on it, which is that, in the NFL's goal, their dream is for pretty much every team to be about 500. I mean, that's what the league is built for. It's built for parity.
11-6, bring you back to 8-9.
It's built for
6 and 11 take you up to 8-9 or 9-8.
The system is built for you to be 9-8 or 8-9.
Yep. And Mike Tomlin's like, hell yes.
If you're gonna be better than that,
I like Tomlin.
Then either
Jeff Fisher,
you need
8-1.
There you go.
You either need to be better or lucky. If you're going to be worse than that, you need to be either worse or unlucky. But, so the teams that find ways, I mean, the fact that you're going to have a team that's going to go 2-15 means that, you're probably going to have a team that goes 15-12. And it requires a little bit of luck.
15-2.
15-12 would be very impressive.
Would be very impressive.
You're thinking of 2004. You're thinking of 2045.
I think that was the record of the Chiefs in holiday touchdown.
I watched that, by the way. We can talk about that at some point.
Well, that's how the Chiefs keep winning. They find the hat there in the fourth quarter.
There you go. Find a hat. But I mean,
how do the Chiefs keep coming with these victories? They found the hat in the fourth quarter. It's just what they do, man.
But I mean, it's just good teams figure out a way to win these games. Bad teams figure out a way to lose them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that realistic. This is not a sport, and this is not a world in which everything is 50-50. And, I mean, pressure is real. I mean, I know it. I play golf. Haven't played in a long time. But when I played golf and everything, I had friends that I played with that I was about the same as them. You know what? I lost a lot. You know why? Because I could not putt under pressure. What I couldn't do.
Wow, that takes a big man to admit that.
I admit it. I mean, I
want
Sterling
to golf soon?
Sterling would never admit that, by the way.
Sterling now wants to play golf for money.
Sterling would never
golf
admit
soon?
that. It takes a big man to admit that. Sterling would never admit it.
I'll gladly admit it.
Tough but fair.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're talking about poker, chess. I mean, probably darts. I mean, it's everything. If you're able to put your pressure on your opponent, and you're good at handling pressure, you're going to win more than you lose.
Bill Self and the KU Jayhawks don't win close games down the end because they just get lucky all the time. They don't.
100% true.
They don't find a way. Like, Greg Gurley was on with Steven the other day and said, we kind of feel like the Chiefs a little bit. He's like, some of these teams that aren't very good that we're winning against, we kind of dismiss it. But the teams that are good that we've beaten by a possession, a shot here or there. And he's like, and we found a way to win. He's like, we could easily have lost. He was talking about the Creighton loss. He's like, we could have easily have lost a couple of those games, and now we're talking about something totally different. But, a ball bounces here. Basketball's a make or miss game. You shoot the ball, and if it goes in, Bob Valvano always had a great line. He said, at the end of the game, when, if you're down by one and you draw up a play and a guy gets a shot and the ball's in the air and the coach is going, am I a good coach or a bad coach? Am I a good coach or a bad coach? Because however this ball falls is the way that people will describe me based on the play that we drew up. It goes in. Boy, what a great play. Misses. I mean, you could have gotten a better shot than that somewhere along the line. And that's what happens. And he said they had that, feeling that, they could be a little bit worse, but they found ways to make plays. And guess what? They're a veteran team that's been there, done that. They hit free throws. They do a lot of things. They're well coached. The Chiefs do that as well. And when you got a rookie center in a situation like that and a guard for whatever reason and Aiden O'Connell that hadn't played in 4 weeks and a scramble like, oh, my God, we might win, and clapping, even though clapping is going to tell the guard that it's time to snap the ball, but you're clapping to get the guys to go, you can't clap to the guard when looking at Jacoby Myers to say, hey, get lined up. The guard is hearing a clap and saying, let's go. He's clapping. Let's roll. That's somebody that's not experienced or well coached or in that position before, and the moment got too big for them. The moment never seems too big for the Chiefs.
And I'm gonna sound a little bit like an old man yelling at a cloud here.
There's no clouds out right now.
I believe I have the math on my side here. And this has always been one of my problems with analytics in football, which is that because, the analytics in sports really was born in, depends on what part of the world you're in. United States, you're going to say it was a baseball. Rest of the world, probably football, or soccer, football. And there's a fantastic story about football in the UK and why they were so terrible for so long was because their entire strategy was based on flawed analytics for about half a century. And it was all about because they played the long ball. That was all. That was the British strategy.
They only cared about batting average
for 50 years. It was all about, because they had these stats and everything that some guy first tracked in like the 20s.
This guy gets on base at 450, but he bats 210. Get him the hell out of here. This guy bats 290 and gets on base at 300. Who cares? He bats 290. That's our player.
But whether it's football or it's baseball, here's the difference: is that especially when it comes to baseball, because baseball's always had the adage, hey, you're going to win 54 games, you're going to lose 54. It's what do you do with the other 54? Well, in a baseball game, most of them, you have more than 200 pitches. You might have more than 300, 400 pitches. Okay, depending how long it is and if it's the Yankees and Red Sox. So think about all of those plays. Okay, well, a football season now is 17 games. 50 to 70 plays a game for each team. So say 120, 130 plays. Yeah. Okay. The sample size is way too small. And that's why, to me, for people who just take it, just the black and white of analytics and just say, hey, this, go by the numbers, go by this. No, because your sample size is too small. You don't have that opportunity. That doesn't translate. Yes, you can do that to a large degree in baseball because you have 162 games and you have maybe 300 plays a game. In football, you have so few opportunities and so few plays that if it just comes down, I mean, if a 2-point conversion is a 60-40 play, which increasingly it's not. I mean, it's becoming more like a 50-50 proposition. That means if half the time you're going to get it, half the time you're not, it does not mean that you're going to get, you're going to average a point every time you do it. It means that sometimes, you know what, because of the small sample size, you might have a game where you get 4 points on 2-point conversions, and the next week you get 0 on 2-point conversions. So, that's football doesn't have a way to balance all that out. So it all comes down to just individual plays, individual coaching, and it comes down to one. I mean, the Chiefs-Buffalo game came down to 4 moments. All 4 of those moments, the Bills made the play. That's why they won the game. I mean, Chiefs-Raiders, probably could say it came down to 2 or 3 moments. Chiefs made the play, or the Raiders failed in one of those moments. I mean, that's just how the sport is.
Visiting with Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. I'm going to look at this Chiefs team this weekend. DJ Humphries, what's going to happen? Is he going to start? If he doesn't start, is it going to be Joe Tooney? He'll be going up against Bosa and Mack. If he doesn't start this weekend, don't worry. It gets easier. He goes up against Myles Garrett next week. Whoever's going to be in there at left tackle. We'll see more concern with the offense or the defense and a matchup this weekend with the Chargers that – a win by the Chargers, by the way, look at the remaining schedules. They're not out of the running to win the West if they win this weekend, the Chargers. We'll talk about that as well. More Zone next. podcast. It's a Friday.
Why don't I ever get to be like around for sports and leisure?
Feel free to come on in. Thursdays at 1 o'clock.
Because
You'll be back in time.
You know why? Because love hurts.
Because I was enjoying one-hit wonders yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
So,
Oh, did you like that?
Yes.
Well, Nazareth's not a one-hit wonder.
No, I wasn't going to include it, but I mean, they're kind of a one. I mean,
No,
well,
love
1.5.
hurts. You also have Hair the Dog. You have two. Hair the Dog
They got
and
two. No,
Love
I mean, they
Hurts.
got two. I mean,
2 and through.
Now y'all messing with a son of a
Lady.
But
Guns
the,
N'
the,
Roses.
the vinyls, I own that on a single.
yes,
See,
a
so-
single.
I love
Oh
that.
yeah.
Matt Derrick is our guest.
I mean, my teen years were like the heartbeat of the Kasingle era. So I've got a lot of Kasingles.
That's why I
See,
have no idea.
Gorky Park, another one.
Mine is
One-hit
the
wonder.
early 2000s, late 90s one-hit wonders of the alternative ones, like Flagpole Sitta by Harvey Danger.
You got like
the-
CD singles there.
Yeah, we got Siggles.
He would just burn them.
Si-
He would just burn the CDs. It's fine. Yeah,
Well-
one person had to buy it. That's fine. That's it. Then you could burn the CD for everybody else.
got everything on Napster.
Exactly. LimeWire. It's all labeled incorrectly.
No, not LimeWire. for that
LimeWire.
reason, I was
Everything
too.
was everything was a virus on LimeWire. Everything you downloaded.
I wasn't
was a
allowed
virus.
for that reason because it was a virus.
Everything was. A
My dad
virus.
had so many CDs, we'd have to burn them all.
Everything was mislabeled on LimeWire too. Half the time it'd be like the artist that they have is not the artist that actually sang that
No,
song.
exactly. That was the annoying part.
Yes. All right. Visiting with Matt Derrick, 41 is the mic, and Chiefs Digest. All right, Matt. Sunday, Chiefs Chargers. Who is starting at left tackle? Sterling refused to answer and said, "I'm going to wait till I hear from Matt Derrick."
My lawyer.
I said DJ
Your
Humphries.
lawyer.
So DJ Humphries is going to start. They want him to get out there and play. So what say you? What do you think happens on Sunday as DJ Humphries starting?
He's starting. I don't know if they want him to start,
Okay.
but he has to start.
I guess want him to start because the other alternatives.
Yeah, I mean their preference would have been that Wanye was still holding on and
Yeah.
everything, but with what happened last week, I mean they don't want to go through a game with just Joe Tooney trying to get them by, and I mean they've obviously feel like they've seen enough for DJ Humphries that he's good enough to go. Whether it's going to be the right move, whether he'll be 100%, whether it'll be pretty all the time. But they feel like at this point that he is their best option. So I'm kind of surprised because it's running. There's two things it's running into. One is what's the best for the team, who's the best left tackle right now, versus what's fair to DJ Humphries. And because I think in an ideal world, they're not starting him yet because Andy Reid doesn't like to put players into that position. You know that. Remember, this dude's had one padded practice. Not going to be in pads today, so he's had one padded practice with this team. They're going to put him out there. I mean, but I think that shows you how much they want to win this game. They want to win this game. And maybe Andy Reid wants to make sure they win it by a lot. I don't know if that's the motivation here. I don't know if it's just clearly that he wants to win this game. He wants his team to feel good about themselves, or he wants to blow somebody out. But they feel like DJ Humphries is going to do it, so I'm surprised by it, but he's going to start.
So I just want to get clarification here, so credit where credit is due. You think he's going to start, or you're saying what you're hearing and what you've been told and you're reporting as Matt Derrick that DJ Humphries is the starter on Sunday?
From what I'm told by people in the organization, he is starting.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go.
I am ready now to let you know who I think's going to start.
Who's that?
I think it's going to be DJ Humphries.
There you
after
go.
after
Wow.
hearing
Sterling's never wrong.
after
about
hearing
that,
from my lawyer Matt Derrick.
Takes a big man to admit that you just waited there. So
Yeah.
how about that? Good
And
for
I
you.
mean, I seriously thought that they wouldn't do it this early, that they really wanted to, because I know the original plan was to give him a couple of weeks, but what happened last week just doesn't allow them that luxury anymore. And I don't think there's any doubt Andy Reid wants to win this game.
That was, you know what, and one of the things I was going to ask you too, and you brought it up there. So in a perfect world, would it have been Wanyamora starts this week, DJ Humphries slides into the starting role against Cleveland next week if they had their druthers, if they had to paint the picture where their hand is forced now that they don't really have a choice, but they would really like to give them one more week to get acclimated and get another padded practice, or at least another week with the ones?
I mean, in a perfect world, Wanye Morris is still the starter. I mean, the perfect world was that he was going to be he plays well enough, whether it was just things started to click or the presence of DJ Humphries pushed him so that then he elevates his game. I mean, their dream, like I said, perfect world, was Wanya Morris holds that position the rest of the year. They win the Super Bowl. Everything's fine. DJ Humphries was just there for insurance in case somebody goes down. Because think about that now. I mean, as far as the dream scenario and the perfect plan, what do you do if DJ Humphries or Jawan Taylor gets hurt? What do you do?
You fall back onto what your team would be if DJ Humphries wasn't on your team. You would simply have to tooth, grin, and bear it, and Wanya's your left tackle or Joe Thuney's your left tackle moving forward. That's what it was going to be without DJ Humphries. At least there is somebody that could be an answer that you can turn to, as opposed to saying, this is what we got. These are the guys. These are the people at the dance. This is who we're going to be dancing with, and we got to figure out how to make the most of it and try to win a Super Bowl. If something happens to DJ Humphries, the worst case scenario is that they fall back to something that they had been playing with all year anyway. I think it would be a little bit worse if they came into the season and Wanya was a guard and Kingsley was a red shirt and DJ Humphries was your guy, and then week 15 DJ Humphries goes down and now it's, okay, Wanya, we're going to have you play left tackle, or hey, let's see what Kingsley can do. And then you find out in 15, 16, and 17 that, oh my God, this isn't working. Now what do you do in the playoffs? At least from this standpoint, you have what you hope is an answer to the issues that are there. And if something happens, you fall back on the devil you know, for lack of a better term, to Wanya and Kingsley for how they played.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the short answer is if anything happens to DJ Humphries, you go to Joe Thuney.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just going to have to be your guy.
Yeah, but why give the short answer when I can, spend 5 minutes?
But if Jawan Taylor goes down, I mean, you're not moving either Joe Thuney or DJ Humphries to right tackle.
No.
So you're going to be going with somebody else, ride or die there. And he might go through 3 guys. Who knows? I mean, they might be 4. I mean, it could be Ethan Driscoll.
Yeah, Kingsley.
I mean, could be almost anybody.
Yeah.
Could be. I mean, would they kick Trey Smith at the right tackle?
I don't know. I mean,
What are his arms?
No, I just he's not good enough at pass blocking. Like I think Trey Smith is such a road grader in the run game that you leave him at right guard. But
who would probably be their best right tackle? I think it'd probably be Creed Humphrey.
No, I don't know. He's a pretty small dude.
Okay, so Trey Smith has 33.63 inches of arms.
33? That's long enough.
33.6.
It's passable.
You'd like 34 if you're the Chiefs,
Yeah.
but I mean,
let's see.
I think that's still longer than Joe
Let's
Thuney's.
say Andy would like 39.
Ooh, Creed Humphrey is 32.25.
Doesn't matter. He's Creed Humphrey. He's an
that's
all-pro.
He is
not
Creed
passable.
Humphrey.
Not passable.
What are
It's not-
Thuney's?
going to
Remind
do
me of
that.
that.
25.
That
I
was
think he's
not
got
a good.
alligator arms.
Oh wow, that was almost a really bad search.
Oh.
Joe TH. I already had. Never
It
mind.
doesn't matter. Just go ahead and look up the arm length.
32.25 inch.
Yeah, so
See?
they are. So
See?
Trey Smith
He
does
had-
have. Yeah, but Joe Thuney.
Trey's longer and Creed's about the
but
same.
Trey Smith's pass blocking is not to the level that Joe Thuney's is.
That's
You know
why.
what I mean?
That's why I say Creed's
Yes,
your next best tackle.
Yes, Matt Derrick is our guest. The matchup is Joey Bosa this week and Khalil Mack. And if not this weekend, then it would be Myles Garrett next week. Joey Bosa's last 5 games, so he missed 3 games. And since returning from injury, his last 5 games, he's played 201 snaps. He has 6 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 sack.
Yep.
You talk about a man living on the name.
Yeah, remind me again how old he is.
Not old enough to be as injured as he always is. I'll say that.
But he's getting up there. He and Khalil Mack are both getting up there.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he knows, how tough it can be from time to time.
We're in week 14, and they've got 5 more games to go.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you think he knows who's going to start at left tackle?
oh, I think he knows. I think I think they've been preparing for it all week.
I think when it comes to nose, he's very aware of all things.
So you're talking Joey Bosa?
Yes.
He's 29.
Okay.
So he's 29.
Not the years even, it's the miles, but he's getting up there.
Yeah.
And Khalil Mack is older than that.
Yeah.
So
But again, he's done nothing. And now it doesn't mean he'll do nothing here because we saw the Panthers get 12 sacks all year and have 5 in the game against the Chiefs. But I'd rather DJ Humphries go out there and go up against a guy who isn't doing much this year rather than a guy who's competing for Defensive Player of the Year in Myles Garrett for your first game next week.
And here's what the Chiefs are hoping for, what they believe they're going to get at least in DJ Humphries. And they're not going to say this, but this has to be in the back of their heads. I mean, because what you have to do is you just have to give Mahomes more time. it's not the sacks that are the problem. It's the speed of the sacks. Because some of these sacks wouldn't happen if you just gave Mahomes another half of a second. I mean, but the bigger problem is it's the plays that you can't even make or get a chance to make because the pressure gets there too quick.
Yep.
And that's what, Kingsley was giving up and having the problems with, and then that's what Wanya got bit with last week. It's the sack that happens in 2 or 2.5 seconds. Whereas if Mahomes had an extra half second, that throw to Xavier Worthy is a touchdown. That's all he needed was a half second. That's a touchdown. So that's what you're hoping with DJ Humphries. You're not. If you're the Chiefs, you're not asking DJ Humphries to go out there and throw a perfect game. I mean, you're not asking for no sacks, no pressures. You just want to keep these guys off Mahomes' back for 3 or 3.5 seconds. That's all this team needs.
I think you brought up a good point of Joey Bosa with almost going off the reputation of what he had been versus what he is.
Sterling knows. Not as much as Bosa, but Sterling knows.
Past 3 seasons.
What, Dylan? What are you laughing at?
5 games, 9 games last year, and he's played 9 this year. 3 sacks this year total. But it's not just that. I mean, PFF, whatever your thoughts are on PFF, his pass rush grade, Bosa's this year, Joey's, is 62nd out of 200 edges. 65.6. He's not the same guy. So you're right. You would much rather have him go up this week against Bosa versus Myles Garrett. Again, I'm not saying Bosa's a bad edge rusher.
Although I should point out, when Bosa and Mack are on the field at the same time, I'd say probably 2/3 or more Bosa's going up against the right tackle, and Mack is going up against the left tackle. But still, I'll take my chances with Mack or Bosa rather than Myles Garrett that goes up against the left tackle a lot.
Khalil Mack's been outstanding, 17 sacks last year.
Yes.
This year he's ranked the 4th edge rusher in football.
He's good.
I mean, Khalil Mack is the one that you probably – I mean, again – who would have thought the 33-year-old is more productive than the 29-year-old at this point?
It's Joey Bosa,
Mack.
so who would have thought that Joey Bosa was injured? Shocker. I know. Crazy. I think we all knows that. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, and we will get Matt Derrick's thoughts on the offense, the defense. Is there one side or the other that he's more concerned with, more optimistic about? And this Chargers matchup, it's a sneaky big one. Chiefs have dominated the West, but look at the schedules the rest of the way for the Chargers and the Chiefs. After this week, the Chargers aren't losing again. And if the Chiefs lose this game, there would be no tiebreaker. The Chargers would be 2 games back, and the Chiefs have a much tougher schedule remaining than the Chargers do. So, very big game. You win the West, or you put yourself in a dogfight, and you put yourself in very big danger of being the 2 seed. We'll take a timeout. More Zone next. defense with 5 weeks to go, or are you concerned with either? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you look at it and go, I'm all good. It's Chiefs where they want to be. But if you had to choose one side or the other, which would be more concerning right now, 5 weeks to play?
You know, the crazy thing is that I probably have similar concerns on both sides, but they're trending in different directions. I mean, I think you got to be a little concerned because the defense has had a couple of bad weeks. Their streaks have come to an end as far as, keeping opponents under 28. I mean, they only gave up, 64 yards, I think, to the top back for the last week, which did break their streak of 60. But, they've just been a little weaker. I mean, they've been weaker against the pass. They have a couple of spots. I mean, the cornerback spot is of question and wonder right now. Defensive line hasn't been its usual self. I mean, we'll see what happens with Charles and Minihue, but defense has been trending the wrong way. I think the offense is going to start trending the right way. I mean, they're getting players back. They're going to get more back. I mean, you feel like that if this team ever gets to a point where they've got Hollywood and Hopkins and Worthy and Kelsey and either Kareem or Pacheco on the field, this is going to be a really good offense. So I don't have as many concerns, even though the left tackle that Charles trying to figure out. Like I said, it's just, to me, I feel like they're trending in different directions. That's a little scary because you want your defense to be playing well. Maybe they're going to figure some things out, but they need to just get some guys rested too.
Is there a way to fix or slow down, reverse the trend that's going on with the defense to get them playing closer to what they were looking like early in the season?
I mean, I think a big part of it is that they're just tired. I mean, they've had to play a lot of snaps.
Yeah.
Chris Jones is playing the most snaps of his entire career. I mean, I know Trent McDuffie's the only guy who's played every single snap, but Justin Reed's played a lot. He's also played through some injuries and has some dings here and there. Everybody's got some dings here and there. But the fact that, and Chris Jones kind of put it on the nose. He's like, when I asked him about his workload yesterday, it's like, well, I'm playing a lot of close games, so I'm on the out on the field in the fourth quarter a lot. And that makes a difference. I mean, and that's the question about whether you're straining too much to win some of these games. And the Chiefs been having to keep their starters and a lot of key players out there in the field late.
Yeah, the Travis Kelce is pacing to be right around the most snaps he's ever played in a season in his career.
And that's not good at his point in his career.
Chris Jones is pacing for more snaps than he's played. Karlaftis, with 3 weeks to play, if he continues this trend, would have already played the most snaps he's ever played in his career with 3 weeks to play this year. They'd like some rest. What do you think happens on Sunday, Matt?
I mean, I think the Chiefs win. I should probably be going the lower score game because I know that's what the Chargers want. I think it's going to be close, though. I'm going with the Chiefs 27-24.
27-24. Chiefs get the win and don't cover. That seems to be on trend.
I may have actually gone 27-23 now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay, so they push. I'm going to put you down for 27-24.
I was down for a push. Because I know it was a 4-point game.
Push it. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Kendall Cameron next.
He has a different view of the world. Maybe because he spent 15 years looking at it upside down. He knows exactly how many times the ball will rotate on a long snap, and he'll juggle anything you throw at him. It's Kendall Gammon in the Zone. Brought to you by Crown Toyota and Crown Volkswagen. Recognized as the #1 place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Visit crownautomotive.com to see the latest deals. Experience the Crown difference.
I will continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB on this Friday edition. Red Friday as the Chiefs get ready for the Chargers Sunday Night Football coming up in Kansas City and expected to be gorgeous, mid-50s on Sunday. So that's going to be great for the tailgate, going to be great for the atmosphere, going to be great for the gameplay to not have randomness of snow or brutal cold or rain or something like that. So that'll be good. Chiefs still 4-point favorites over the Chargers on Sunday.
And speaking of mid-50s, Kendall Gammon.
Oh, there you go. That's nice. I like what you did
good,
there,
Sterling.
That is great.
Damn it, I wish I'm jealous
I'm
of that.
actually laughing. That's a good one.
I'm totally jealous of that. Kendall, what's up, brother? How are you?
Not much. I'm doing well. And the other thing is Tom Bahali will be going into the Ring of Honor, so that's awesome as well.
Awesome, dude.
Teammate of mine.
Yeah. So, how's the day go for Tamba? Like, what goes on Sunday? What's the day like for somebody that's going into the Ring of Honor?
They will have the ceremony with the guys. They'll come and invitees. They'll be a couple hours before the game somewhere in there, and then of course he goes out and does his thing at halftime with that. And I think Clark and family will present him with all those different things and highlight video and all those things. I guess that's it. I'm sure there's other things. I tell you this, I don't know it from experience, nor
Not yet.
do I have any expectations.
And I just didn't know if there was a day of it to where the ambassadors get together and have a big party and things like that.
That's kind of beforehand, the couple hours. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool. It's not just a, hey, show up, we're gonna give you this thing at halftime, but a whole celebration. And that's awesome because Tamba, man, what a great chief.
Good dude. Absolutely, yes.
You guys crossed pads, right?
We did, yeah.
06, right? Yeah, yeah.
I think 5 and 6. Was it?
I think his first year said 2006.
Okay,
I believe
gotcha.
so.
Okay, so I just had 1 year with
what,
him.
What was it like when he walked in that first time?
I don't remember one way or the other. I remember Eric Hicks was hard on rookies, so he had a good time with Tamba, and Tamba would tell you the same, and they're good friends and everything. But yeah, you have a good time with the guys that come in. But he certainly had a heck of a career. Was it 89.5 sacks, something like that?
He had one
Not
of the
bad.
2 things
33 forced fumbles.
Yeah, 2 things stick out for Tamba for me. One is the motor that just never stopped.
Yep, agreed.
And the ability to hand fight. His hand fighting as a defensive lineman was awesome, which also helped him get to the quarterback more. I mean, you can have a great motor, but if the offensive lineman gets their hands on you and locked out, good luck with that. But his hand fighting was just so good. It made up for some lack of athleticism or bend or things like that. He had
as
other
compared
ways,
to others, right?
Yeah, had other ways to be able to get there. And just, man, it didn't matter what play it was. He wasn't going to stop until the whistle. And it's admirable. And there's a reason why he's one of the players that probably maximized as much ability that he had into being the player that he was.
I would agree, and you talk about that hand fighting, and he was always into martial arts, and I know to this day he still practices martial arts, I think, on a daily basis. So, yeah, a lot of good things there with him. And, then his story's impressive. When he was 8 or 10, came over from Liberia, and back there, literally, I think, as he said, dodging bullets and things going on. Came over to the U.S., didn't speak a lick of English. I mean, I can't imagine. Yeah, so it's a great story.
Does he have the area between the forehead and the nose? Is that finally scabbed and healed over? Because it was every game he would take his helmet off and that would be bleeding.
Yeah. I forgot about that. I haven't noticed it as of late at the ambassador meeting, so it must be okay.
It was every game, right? Because the helmet where it would come down and hit that, it was always bleeding. I'm like, man, that's got to be. It's like a boxer that has the same cut that keeps getting opened up in a fight. It's a defensive lineman. That's not going to be something that's going to heal very quickly. I just always remember that about Tamba. So yeah, congratulations to Tamba Hali. That is awesome that he's going in. As a player, do you like the night games, the nationally televised games? Is there a different feel to it as a player, even though we'll hear that it's just another game, it's all good? Is it a noon on Sunday versus Sunday Night Football, 7:20 kicking off with the nation watching?
I think it's a different feel for sure. You certainly understand, as you said, that the nation is watching, that you're the only game in town right now. And so you understand that, your contemporaries, guys that play around the league are watching as well for the most part. So that's a big deal. Given the chance, I think we'd prefer to play at a noon game or even
Really?
3. Yeah, absolutely. A night game is just waiting around the whole day. Just not the funnest, but you understand why it happens.
Is it the noon game, so you get home, you've got dinner with the family, you see the kids and things like that, and as opposed to, I guess the waiting around?
I think so a little bit, but then the other thing is just the fact of not having to wait around beforehand, and especially if it's an away game. If you get done, you think about if you're on the East Coast and you play a West Coast game and it's a Sunday night game.
Oh, yeah.
I can remember when I was with the Steelers, driving into my garage, and it's like 5:36 in the morning. I remember one time I specifically remember, what time I don't remember what time it was, but the sun was coming up.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Do you guys have to be at the facilities later that day or take the day off?
It would be later that
Later
day
that
and get
day.
it going, because the fact comes down to it is you're going to play. You're going to play soon in next week.
So then Monday Night Football is actually horrible for the players.
It really is. It really can be. There's no
better,
doubt
better
about
than
that.
Thursday Night Football, I'm assuming.
Concur. Yes,
But
absolutely.
Thursday
yeah.
Night Football, though, after you're done, you have a mini bye week.
Mini bye week, yeah. So
Because Kelsey said he likes the Thursday night games. He's like, yeah, he likes them because it
of
sucks
that.
on the front end,
Right.
But then you get a mini bye after that's over. Sort
Yep.
of, it's like
Absolutely.
When you go to college, take as many tough courses early on, and then you got a little bit easier there your senior year.
I remember specifically, it was after my second year, coming back where I pulled in when the sun was coming up, and I was going to visit where I was going to student teach, because I hadn't done my student teaching and was going to finish my degree, and I went straight to there. It was Shaler High School in Pittsburgh, and literally they're like, You played football last night. I was like, I did play football last night.
correct.
When did you get home? A couple hours ago. So I had no sleep going, and I went in there, just to get things going. But yeah, it is what it is. You deal with it.
That's amazing.
I feel very fortunate to have have dealt with stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. Like Jim Harbaugh, when he was still playing, the last 4 or 5 years of his playing time, he coached at WKU with his dad.
Did he really?
Yeah, he was like
that doesn't surprise me.
He was like an assistant. He helped recruiting and everything. He was still playing in the NFL, and he would go down there on a couple days a week and help his dad coach the team. And the team ended up winning a national championship in the FCS in like 2000 or 2001, something like that. Jack Harbaugh, who was a Hall of Fame FCS Division I AA at the time, Hall of Fame coach. But yeah, he was.
I'm glad they changed it to FCS, so we really don't know what the heck's going on, and you can't really. And we always say it used to be 1 AA.
Division I AA. Oh, you mean FBS and FCS?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
it just
hold on.
rolls off the tongue.
But it was FCS because it was a championship series, and it's FBS because it's a bowl series. But now there's a playoff, so now it's a championship series. So is it FCS 1 and FCS 1 AA?
Cheeseburger. Yeah.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
I could go for one right now.
Yeah, I know. No fries,
Kendall.
cheaps.
Not sure what you're talking about here, but this is a Wendy's. What do you think of what Harbaugh has done in transitioning?
Was that a Billy Goat's Tavern reference right there, I think?
It was not. It was a reference to SNL.
Yeah, SNL, I think.
Okay. Oh, that
I think it was about
with,
Billy Goat's Tavern, yeah.
Oh, is that what that, okay,
yeah,
so
no
you know
Coke,
more.
Pepsi, or no
Exactly
Pepsi.
right.
Yeah.
No
Okay, yeah.
No
No
fries, chips.
I got
absolutely.
that, yeah.
I'm just a walking quote machine.
I love it.
I wish we could just communicate through memes and quotes, and that's it. And
I would
be good.
I would be down for that.
Be fabulous.
I would love that. Movie
Yes.
quotes, and that's really it the whole time, back and forth.
Harbaugh, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Love him. I'm amazed. I think he's done a great job this year. Of course, he's always looking for as many opportunities as possible to wear cleats, and he does that well, which I think
With
is
grass
awesome.
this weekend.
Yeah,
Heck yeah, he doesn't have to
absolutely.
wear turf cleats.
But I think he's done a great job with Herbert. I think Herbert, looks at him already as a mentor, having not even known him for a year. I think he does a great job with his QBs. And this team in the Chargers, I cannot get used to not saying San Diego. I have to catch myself. I just think they've developed much quicker than I thought. I mean, coming into this year, you thought this division was going to be weak like normal, and it's anything but.
Yeah, that is amazing how things have turned. I was talking about that with Tysher on Tuesday, that we came into this season looking at the Chiefs had just dominated the West, and their record's bloated like the Patriots of the old when they were dominating the AFC East, and the Bills and Dolphins and Jets this year in the AFC East.
Yeah.
That thing is going to be a beast. It's going to be a bear. Bills have already won their division,
right?
And the Chiefs and have maybe the best division in football. The 2 wild card teams coming from this division right now.
Yep,
2 of the 3 wild cards coming from this division. So yeah, it's a little bit different than what it was when a couple of years ago, and I think it's gonna stay that way for the time being because I think Denver probably found their guy at coach and quarterback. Jeez, I almost did it. Los Angeles found their guy at quarterback, and they found
the
their coach.
St. Louis Rams, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And they hope they found their coach, and the Raiders are still trying to find a home. I mean, they're still searching for that home that'll be their forever home.
Right.
They keep moving from house to house. They'll get that forever home one day, although it's a pretty nice home that they've moved into now.
Yeah.
Just an unfamiliar neighborhood.
If there's a rescue team in the NFL, it's definitely the Raiders.
There you go. But it does change things for the Chiefs' outlook moving forward. If they're going to be playing in this division with what looks like the Chargers and Broncos have their stuff together, and they can't beat up on those teams like you felt like every year. Like, all right, come on, they're gonna win their division this year, so it's gonna be like 9 in a row,
right?
But that's not gonna be a given every year. Like they're gonna have to make sure they're taking care of business in some of these close games, too.
Well, we can get back to the old adage of just picking the Chargers to win the Super Bowl every year, even though they don't win the division each and every year.
Oh, yeah.
Are we not amazed by that? I mean, it hadn't happened this year, but you remember what I'm talking about, right?
This was probably the first year that it
hasn't happened in quite some time.
They would win the offseason every year.
Every year.
And then every year, it'd be like, man, they just got injured. If they didn't get you know what? This is the year they stay healthy. I'm going to pick the Chargers to go. They get why do they keep getting injured?
It's the same players who are always injured, and they always expect them to somehow play all 17 games.
Yeah.
It's
because
ridiculous.
You signed guys that had been injured, hoping that they wouldn't be injured, and then they got injured. Like those things.
If they don't get injured, then they get suspended somehow, i.e., Derwin James and whoever else.
Right. I mean, it's just what happens with the Chargers, but they are certainly playing better football than they did with Brandon Staley. So it's a tough matchup, and I think, looking at the schedule, Kendall, I'd mentioned this in the first hour that I don't think the Chargers lose again this year because they've got Tampa Bay at home, they've got Denver at home. Then they go to Vegas and they go to New England.
Right.
Those are the last 4 games.
Those are some nice away games to have.
Chiefs are in Cleveland. They've got Houston. They go to Pittsburgh. They go to Denver to finish the season out in those 4. You lose this game, the Chiefs.
That's tough.
There's no tiebreaker anymore over the Chargers. And you've got a 2-game lead. But the Chargers probably aren't going to lose again.
Right.
It at least throws it back into a conversation. You win the West with a win on Sunday. That is taken care of you, or you can wear the hats on Sunday after the game, put the T-shirts on, all of that of winning the West yet again. You lose it, it's back open for business, and the Chargers at least have an outside chance of finding a way to win the division.
And I don't like the Chiefs' chance on Christmas with the Steelers. I mean. Man, if Tomlin's not the coach of the year, I don't know who is, and I know he's not going to be probably, but I am amazed at what he does each and every year. But I do not like that game from the Chiefs side of things.
I want to go and look now. I'll be honest, I'm becoming more and more convinced, and yes, probably late to getting on this side of it, but the Steelers are more for real than I ever gave them credit for. And, and
I agree, and I'm not convinced yet, but I should be, I'm sure. And I know Steelers fans are cussing me right now because they are.
Kendall, come on. You're a Steeler, man. Come on, dude.
I know a few specifically.
But Russell Wilson looks more like the Russell Wilson of old. He has receivers that make sense for how he plays. That moon ball goes great when you have guys like George Pickens.
Yeah.
Obviously, the addition of Mike Williams hasn't done a ton. Pratt
also,
Freiermuth is a good tight end.
He's brilliant at that. Like, he may be one of the best deep ball throwers that we've ever seen. Like, and I don't know that that's hyperbole. Like, that's the one thing Russell Wilson has over almost any other quarterback is
correct.
The deep balls land right in the bucket so often to guys. Like, it's a skill, and he's got an amazing amount of touch on that.
And I wonder how much of Denver was not having good receivers who could be deep ball receivers, so he was forced to check down. So we'll never know. Obviously, everything works in tandem, but the offensive line looks good. That defense is always good under Mike Tomlin. But, I think the Steelers are a legitimately good team. Are they the same as the Bills or Chiefs? Maybe not, but I think they're creeping closer and closer to that. at some point you got to give credit for winning ball games.
Yeah, and I think also the fact is when he came there, Tomlin's like, no, this isn't how we play. You don't have an office. You don't do this. You don't do that. I just bet he went after him like he hasn't been gone after in quite some time.
The leading candidate right now in Vegas by a pretty decent margin for Coach of the Year.
Can we guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
Kevin O'Connell.
He is third.
What? He took a team that was supposed to be horrendous.
Is it Dan Campbell again?
Dan Campbell, minus 185
Dumb.
to win Coach of the
They
Year.
were supposed to be good.
I know. But you know what?
Yeah.
I don't really hate it because
And the precedent's
you know me,
been set
Yeah.
since, Andy
Right.
gets put up for it every year.
Yeah.
Or maybe not.
And
But
Bill Belichick
it's a
and
good point.
Tomlin.
Yeah.
But
Right.
the one that will really upset everyone is that Mike Tomlin has 0 Coach of the Year awards, and Kevin Stefanski has 2.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin is second betting favorite at plus 500. That's minus 185 for Dan Campbell, plus 500 for Mike Tomlin, plus 550 for Kevin O'Connell, plus 650 for Sean Payton. Andy Reid is the ninth betting favorite.
But that's what's so silly to me.
At plus 2,000.
I have no problem with Dan Campbell being Coach of the Year, but then that also means Andy needs to be up there. That
Exactly.
also
Yeah.
that's my only
I agree.
issue. Is again. They have gone through this many a time with Kevin Stefanski, where it seems to be you do better than expectations. If you Matt Nagy with Chicago,
Yeah.
he won Coach of the Year.
We took Trubisky to the playoffs. So, I mean,
And-
I
and-
heard you. That's
he might have
you've
actually
said that more than one time.
He might
this
have
week.
actually been Coach of the Year that year. You took Trubisky to the playoffs.
But that's kind of my point here is okay, and if you're going to go by the old school expectations of that, then it has to be Kevin O'Connell who took
Right.
a Vikings team that was supposed to win 3 games, and
which
they
is
won 10.
amazing.
I mean, honestly, or
Where's Darnold next year?
I don't know.
He's a New York Jet. He's back with the Jets. How great would that be?
That would be
That
interesting.
would because honestly they might just move on from Rodgers. That's a disaster.
It is. That is a
Well, they're
dumpster
using
fire.
Mike Tannenbaum to
grease
find
fire.
another GM, so why not? Bring Sam Darnold back and be your quarterback.
That would be just full
Since,
circle.
So
for
two
the Jets.
two things when it comes to Coach of the Year that I like pointing out and how farcical sometimes these Coach of the Year awards are. Going back to 2001, this is the ACC one. This is my favorite. But going back to 2001, from 2001 until retirement for Coach K, Seth Greenberg had more ACC Coach of the Year awards since 2001 than Coach K. Seth Greenberg was fired in 2008 and had worked at ESPN since then. Coach K retired 2 years ago. Seth Greenberg had more Coach of the Year awards than Coach K in the ACC alone. Not just ACC Coach of the Year, Seth Greenberg over Coach K.
Do you think it had anything to do with just the way he spelled his name and they just didn't like that?
I think so. They couldn't
Okay.
spell it right, and they're like, well,
Like,
if
what
it's
the
not
heck?
K.
It's a K. How is it a sh?
Exactly.
Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, and Mike Tomlin since 2004 have combined for one Coach of the Year
That's
award.
crazy.
Since 2004, they've combined for one. Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, and Mike Tomlin, one coach. Because if you've already been established as a good coach, it is impossible to be the Coach of the Year in a certain year if you've already established that you are a good coach. Dan Campbell hasn't won it. He's still establishing he's a good and well-liked and
But
respected coach.
everyone agrees he's a good coach.
I know. I agree, but he hasn't won Coach of the Year award yet, so there you go. So now
It's like once you win one award, you're
you
good.
can't win multiple.
Unless you're Kevin Stefanski.
Exactly.
I know one thing. After
Over
Dan
Mike
Campbell's
Tomlin.
Yes.
after Dan Campbell's opening presser, I would have bet against
You
anything
and me both.
ever.
You and me both.
But that was,
as a
but
player,
that was good viewership, though.
But as a player, what would it be like? Because he is so different and so unique. Let's talk.
Oh, you like that? Yeah, you do.
But do you like the
if he's
intro?
real, if
But-
he's authentic?
Okay.
Yeah,
And if
he's
you're
real,
winning, too.
that also.
But they
what were
didn't
you
win.
saying,
They
Sterling?
didn't win the first year when he did that. I mean, that was a bad team. They didn't have a lot of talent, but I think
he
they
was
went,
trying to turn the culture around.
they went like
Right.
3-13 that first year. So how, as a player, would you handle all that biting kneecaps, all that almost bordering corny at times,
Right.
and you're going 3-13?
cartoonish a little bit.
It depends probably with the one thing that we don't know, which is what is said in the team meetings and what's going on, because it could be a whole different vibe in there. I think in terms of things, I'll just say that. So it's nothing we'll ever know. But I think as a player, as long as you know a coach is real and authentic and knows what's going on, you can have respect for him.
Antonio Pierce. Is he real and authentic? Is he the guy for
Well, he's
Vegas?
not winning.
He's not winning. Yeah.
I think Kendall's point's perfect, and also you have to win too. Because if you're a
But Dan
goofball
didn't
and
that
you're
first year.
authentic,
That's my
but-
point. Dan,
That was his
Right.
first year, though.
and this is Antonio Pierce's first year.
Yeah, and I think he gets the benefit of the doubt a little bit. I can't just. I assume he's going to be back another year, but I don't know about
Sort
that.
of
I
depends
wonder.
if Prime is available.
That
then
would be interesting.
there have been some talks of
Yep.
of Prime and the Raiders maybe being a connection there. So that would. But I do wonder about Dan Campbell specifically, and maybe even Antonio Pierce. And I brought this up earlier, Kendall. And as a former player, man, this would have to resonate in the locker room. Dan Campbell is one of the few coaches that I can remember that hear the whole thing out, okay? That talks about toughness and grit and in your face and rise to the moment and be the more physical team and in their face, and we're going to come out there and bite kneecaps off, and then goes into a game and coaches without fear,
Right.
as opposed to so many coaches we're in their face, we're doing this. 4th and 1, let's punt it. Let's punt the ball
Right.
away. This is I don't know. We need to kick a field goal here. Nope. 4th and
Right.
that's a little too scary. Nope. Let's do that. Like Dan Campbell's like bleep you, go for it. 4th and 1, go for it. Run our own 45, go for it. 4th and goal from the 2, yeah, we could put up 3. Field goals aren't going to win. Go for it. Like he's in your face. We're going to punch him in the mouth. This is what we're going to do. This is how we play ball. And I'm going to coach that way too. I'm not the only one. I'm putting my ass on the line because if we don't get this first down, I'm the one going to the post-game press conference and people saying you're an idiot.
Right.
Why'd you do that? Why didn't you just kick the field goal? You got stopped. Jared Goff tripped and fell and tried to get the ball to Montgomery, and you guys got stopped, and they went and kicked a field goal, and they won 34-31. Why are you an idiot and didn't just kick the field goal?
Right.
No, let's go for it because I believe in you guys. This is us. We're a tougher team than they are, and we're going to get 1 freaking yard.
Kirk
and
said
we're
it
gonna win the
last
game.
night when they went for it in their own territory. I think it was like the third quarter or maybe late second
They
quarter.
went for it
before
twice in their own territory.
But they missed it.
That was at their own 30.
Yeah.
And
And
you got-
everyone was, Kirk said it. It was like, oh, you want to point out this one, but we don't want to talk about, the 4th and 1 we just had on the last possession that they needed to go down and score.
Yeah, and then they converted the previous possession.
Yeah.
They were 4th and 1 at their own 49, and they converted it. And then they went for it on 4th and goal from the 3 and converted it. That touchdown had 2 different 4th down conversions. The next possession, they went for it, didn't get it. What an idiot. How do you not punt
right,
there?
right,
How do you not punt there?
That's the beauty of the NFL.
But that has to resonate with players,
It
right?
does,
I would
yeah.
guess that, hey, he wants us to do this, and he's out there also. Like, this is our team. This is our team, how we play, and we have a coach that coaches how we play.
I think that's right. And I think when you look at him, I mean, basically he is, I am who you think I am,
Yeah.
and I'm that person. The players, they respect that. They definitely do. I've played for a lot of good coaches, and you can just tell if they're BSing or not. I've played for a lot of poor coaches also, not just head coaches, but I mean assistant coaches.
Is that one of the things that separates a coach? Like, there's strategy that goes along with it. There's organization that goes along with it. There's culture that goes along with it. But separating like good coaches from bad coaches. Eberflus is fired. Antonio Pierce, maybe it'll work. It's 1 year to Sterling's point.
Right.
Dan Campbell, it took a little bit, but then it took off. 3 wins to 9 wins to 12 wins. They already have 12 wins this year, so they're going to have more wins and close to going to a Super Bowl last year. Like, there's complete and total buy-in of somebody that you feel like is genuine. Like when Andy Reid was playing in the Super Bowl in 19, it was universal. We want to win for him.
Right.
We want to win the Super Bowl for Andy. All right, Andy.
He's a good dude.
The
Really
story
is.
that was written in the Philadelphia Inquirer, I can't remember what it was, but it was "Time's yours, Andy." He always says
Oh,
"Time's
nice.
yours." And it was
Yeah,
before the Super Bowl
absolutely.
was Eagles fans. Eagles, you know what, Andy? Time's yours.
Right.
Go get the Super Bowl and win it. Like, that's how everybody feels about him. There's plenty of other coaches that are like, yeah, he won a Super Bowl, but bleep that guy.
Right.
I can't freaking stand that guy. But boy,
Agreed.
they were successful.
Yep. No, it's I don't know. It's just the biggest part of a head coach to me is the communication with the players, and I think that's one place that Andy excels.
Yeah.
Although the biggest thing is I think he's an offensive savant. I think his play calling and what he's able to do is unreal. I've heard it from several different people where if you understand everything going on, the defense is never going to shut the offense down. He has an answer for everything if everybody's on the same page and they can think quick enough. Now, that's easier said than done, however.
allowing guys to be themselves within the confines as well. I think Andy Reid does a pretty good job of that.
Agreed.
He had to reel Kelsey back in at different times in his career, and now Kelsey's Walter Payton Man of the Year. Like the guy that did that particular hand gesture to a referee on national TV after a penalty was thrown.
What hand gesture was it, Jason?
He said, "I'll forget you."
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not what the penalty should be. I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
That's not how you throw a flag. This is how you throw a flag.
Sir, you and I have a differing opinion on this particular play. Can we talk it out like grown adults? That's what he said. But I remember the story that Brandon Flowers told us at the Super Bowl in 2019. So he played for Todd Haley and he played for Andy Reid. Brandon Flowers did. And he said he would wear these custom grills in his mouth in practice from time to time. And he liked doing it. It was his personality, right?
Okay.
And grills were really popular at that particular time. And
Nelly.
still are.
Good job, Nelly.
Well, that's fine. But Todd Haley saw him wearing it and just tore him
Lost his mind.
Just lost his mind. Don't you ever blah, 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 blah. This is a professional. So Andy Reid comes in, and Brandon Flowers is out on the practice field. And I don't remember the particulars of how Andy Reid was sort of aware of this, but Andy Reid went over to Brandon Flowers like in the first couple of practices and like, "Where's your grill?" And Brandon Flowers, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "You wear your grill tomorrow or you're cut." And they told him,
that's outstanding.
I told him, like, no, if that's who you are, that's who you are.
Right.
Be that guy. Now do what you're supposed to do on the practice field.
Right.
And Brandon Flowers was a heck of a player. But this is you. Then be you.
I
all
concur.
right. If that's what makes you feel good, that's how you feel great about playing, then go do it, man.
You know what, Kendall?
Go be that guy.
What?
Wear your grill next Friday.
I might.
Okay? I want to see it.
You don't know that I won't.
Yeah.
Smile for me, Kendall.
What
you looking at?
I'll need to get a
I
grill
want to
first.
see a grill.
Yeah,
you want to see
what?
my what?
His what? His grill. That's right.
I've been asked that once. I've been asked that once.
He might cause a cold front if he takes a deep breath.
Oh, there you go.
Possible.
Asked that once. I've been asked it once. That's a great line. I also remember Dan Campbell like a month ago. Somebody was that had just got released or something was talking about how Dan Campbell, like how he got cut, but he respected him because he was like, I went in there and he just told it to me straight. This is what the deal is.
That's how it was with Cowher with me. Yeah.
And Dan Campbell was asked about it and he goes, "Well, I believe in being." He's like, "I was a player. I've
Exactly.
told the players that they want to know what's going on.
Yep.
They want to be told the truth.
That is
I am
absolutely
honest
correct.
with them. They're honest with me. That's the relationship we have. I'm not going to BS you. All right, this is the deal. We're professionals here. Let's go about winning football games."
And I think as players, you have to understand that things aren't personal. My whole career, and I've told you this probably. When I played for New Orleans. I wish it was New England, New Orleans, and the Chiefs. Every time that we played the Steelers. Obviously, Coach Cowher didn't seek me out to say hello and everything, but I always sought him out. And this is the guy that cut me. The guy that the only time I've ever been told that I wasn't welcome on a team was that time. Yet every time we played him, I went and found him before the game and told him hi, and then thanked him for bringing me in the league.
Wow.
I mean, if he doesn't bring me in the league, who knows?
Yeah.
So I was very, very complimentary of them, and he appreciated it, and it was real. And so when I got that call in year 14 maybe it was, whenever, and he told me that he was adding me to the Pro Bowl roster. That doesn't happen if I'm a tool and every time, or if I have this grudge against him and whatever, or I'm talking all the time. And of course, press is always covering the long snapper, so it would be everywhere. I understand, but all the same, you just you do what you do.
That's great. Kendall Gaiman is our guest. I did want to talk a decent amount about the Chiefs and Chargers matchup this weekend, but I will get your thoughts on that. What do you think of this match? They win 17-10. They were down 10-0 in L.A. earlier this year. They've outscored them by 17 points since then over the course of the season. But what do you think of this matchup Sunday night?
I don't know. I mean, I'm glad it's in Kansas City because the Chargers back then, they were pretty beat up. And I know they're beat up a little bit defensively now, but not like they were. And, of course, Alt's back, I believe, and so they've got some other things going on.
Dobbins is out, though. So
that's right,
makes a difference.
and that doesn't help. But I think their QB, obviously Herbert is a good QB, and I think they're playing better football. I hope KC. I heard you guys talking about it. Throughout the week beforehand is just I got to get the offensive line situation figured out, specifically the left tackle. And it's not like we're breaking news right now, but that's a big one. There's no doubt.
What do you have a score in mind?
I've got 2017 the Chiefs. I'm not about to ever think that we're going to cover the spread until I see us cover the spread. So
we're going to win and not cover.
Yeah, absolutely. But
All All right, we'll see what ends up happening. Again, Tom Ali going into the Ring of Honor.
Yep.
Just a fan favorite and an awesome guy. 5-time Pro Bowler, number 91. Chiefs are going to win 91-0.
Boom.
That's
Oh,
what
wow.
There you go.
That's the number I'm going. Would you disagree?
Flip it. They win by 19.
19-0.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine too. That works. Kendall, you're the man. Appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Mick Schaefer will join us, and we'll hear from Andy Reid. A Fast Friday coming up at 1 o'clock. We got sad fans from the Raiders, and we'll tell you who's lighting it up. We got the cuts. We got our predictions. A lot of stuff still to come here on this Friday. Hanging out with Mick Schaefer. Thank you to Kendall Gammon.
What? Wait. Okay. Hey, I'm here. You're there. We're here. I'm here.
My name is Jason. I am the man. What's with all these questions?
Go, Jason.
About the show's plan. Roll call. Your turn, Mick.
My name's Joseph.
Your name's Mick.
I like to golf, play poker. My name is not Mick. It's Joseph.
All right, we're not doing it. Okay, very good. All right, my bad.
I
don't.
have no rhythm. I knew the words. I just don't have the rhythm.
You play drums and have no rhythm? How does that
Right.
work?
It was a 1A school. That's how they. Yeah, it was horrible. Yeah, they just
Lettered in croquet.
Yeah,
So-
and crochet, both.
Yep, it's just spelled a little bit differently. They gave him 2 letters for it.
Okay, my name is Sterling, and let's get back to the show.
Oh, you want to get back to the meat and potatoes, huh? You don't like us going down a rabbit hole for once, huh?
I'm being healthy, so I'm eating a lot more meat and potatoes.
Very
so,
good.
Yeah.
Good. Very good. Mick Schaefer with us. Speaking of meat and potatoes and just the news, the portion of the plate and the meal that is the most hearty. DJ Humphrey starting on Sunday, according to Matt Derrick.
Oh, wow.
Matt Derrick said on our show, by the way, you heard it right here on Sports Radio 810 from Chiefs Digest, Matt Derrick, and 41 is the Mike podcast. He has been told that DJ Humphreys will be starting on Sunday.
In what position, I wonder?
I think
did they say?
Cornerback 2. They don't
Tight
trust.
end 5?
Yeah, Williams and Najee Johnson are just not doing it. So
Starting at backup tackle.
he's starting at badass.
We've
That's what he
heard
is.
he's going to address one of their major positional concerns. So it's either left tackle or second cornerback,
or kicker.
kicker, maybe
That's right.
running back, perhaps.
He's starting.
Safety.
He's starting on Sunday at Savior.
Let's hope so.
He's starting at the Save Us Obi-Wan Kenobi. You are the only hope at left tackle.
Yeah, exactly. He's starting at last resort.
Damn it, that's the one. We would, I knew we would get there eventually.
He's at LR.
It was the last resort.
Not LT. It's LR.
Damn it. Very good. Mick Schaefer, who was typically our
LR.
last resort here in the show. So what do you make of that? Matt, I should point out the entire report said he believes the plan was for him to practice for a couple of weeks and then start, i.e. Cleveland.
Yeah.
But things got expedited after the performance from Wanya, and this is now my own opinion coming in. I would guess things got expedited not only by the performance of Wanya, but the opinion of Patrick Mahomes. That I'm ready to go with this guy.
I wonder sometimes if Mahomes realizes how much influence he can have, because I think he's overall a great teammate and a nice guy, and only maybe occasionally, like this year with left tackle, last year with Kadarius Toney, wields his sword to where like he can chop a guy's head off just like that.
Yeah.
I wonder if he realizes, and maybe he does, and he doesn't want to, wield all that power all the time. But anything he says over there is gonna go, right?
Yeah.
Any opinion he has, whether it be with players, where they play, the offense, the plays they're running, the defense or the coaching staff, or anything really.
He has a guillotine, and if
whatever he says is going to go.
When Tony dropped that ball, he dropped the guillotine and frankly cut.
And frankly, too late, right? He could have dropped that guillotine games before that.
His largesse knows no bounds. I mean, he's a generous man.
Yes.
He's very much like, I'm going to give you a lot of opportunities, and eventually, if you don't.
Well, and we saw the frustration multiple times. We've seen frustration. The frustration at the officials against the Bills was focused at the wide receiver group, and maybe specifically Kadarius Toney, but then specifically that interception that he threw against the Patriots that went right through the hands of Kadarius Toney, and they go to the sideline, and you see the camera go to Mahomes, and he says, "I just told him that."
Yeah.
That was the last play Kadarius Toney ever played for the Chiefs. He was a healthy and active the rest. Maybe he was injured. He was a healthy and active the rest of the year. He never played, and then he got cut this year. So he never played another snap for the Chiefs after he dropped that ball that got intercepted. And Mahomes went over and said, "I just told him that." And Mahomes got sacked on Friday on a 3rd and goal in which he clearly felt there were receivers open. And he got up and he chucked that ball over to the sideline. because that's the offensive ball. They're bringing in a kicker ball.
Almost chucked it.
He helps out the guys on the sideline.
If I remember correctly, he was getting ready to spike it, and he kept it in his hand. It was the strongest hand. Oh, I was.
I'm just sort of assuming he tossed it over the sideline.
I was shocked by the hand strength of a man too.
That ball's going over to the sideline anyway because the kicker's ball is coming on. So, but he had that visceral reaction to getting sacked that quickly, and Tooney played the very next snap. Like I think there's correlation causation there. I think there's clear connection.
Absolutely there is. And what happened last year when he got mad at the receivers and Kadarius Toney? They went out and got more receivers. You're like, well, should we do it in free agency or trade or the draft? The answer is yes. All of them. And they've had a lot of bad luck with their new receiver core. Otherwise, I believe it would be light years better with all these guys healthy. Obviously so. And so I wonder if we're going to see that again. Going to go get some tackles this year? What do you do off season? You going to do trades or free agency or draft? Yes, with all of them. And so, and I wonder too if we'll see more and more of it, where like he'll have a shorter fuse with some of these positions and some of these things that are going wrong on the offense. And like I said, overall on the team, when he does realize, okay, I'm kind of running the show. It's me and Big Red.
Yeah. Well, and it happens to it coincides with the last 2 years where the offense has not put up the numbers. So last year the offense was 2 years ago, first year without Tyreek Hill, number 1 offense in the league.
Yeah.
Last year they took a step back offensively, frustrations, wide receivers that boiled over. This year they're still struggling when they thought the wide receivers were going to be great, but it's the pass protection, the offensive line that then boils over to clear frustration and a demonstrative sort of theatrical act after he gets sacked. And the Chiefs have gone to Joe Tooney and then moving a guy up probably a week than they wanted to start against the Chargers on Sunday night.
And honestly, who knows better what's best for this team than Patrick Mahomes? There's one guy, I think, and I think it's Andy Reid. I mean, he's 29 years old. He's a brilliant quarterback on and off the field. He's been doing this now for, 8 years in the NFL, 7 years as a starter. There's no coach out there that knows what's better for this team, right? Because they're coming in and out, and that's not a knock on them. It's just, I mean, he is the expert here. Patrick Mahomes is the expert, not just at the quarterback position, but for the entire offense of this team and for what's best for the Kansas City Chiefs. So he should be carrying around that much weight.
We need to take a timeout. We'll come back. Sad fans coming up. We got a Fast Friday with Andy Reid. Who's lighting it up? We get our Chiefs-Chargers predictions. We got the cuts as well. More Zone next. That Patrick Mahomes has. Let's hear from Patrick Mahomes on Wednesday. He was asked, I think he was asked by Soren Petro of, maybe it was Soren, I'm not sure, but was there a conversation with Andy about left tackle when that sack happened on third down? Is there a conversation? Is there a say? Is there a demand? Are you maybe making a decision on who the left tackle is going to be in that game in the middle of trying to beat the Raiders? Here's his answer.
I did not. No, I was more upset just because I felt like there was people open and we hadn't scored in the red zone, and so I knew that was a big drive, and I think I was just more upset about the fact that we didn't execute at a high enough level in the red zone.
There you go.
I'm upset that somebody left the door open there and had to close it right in the middle.
Nothing to do with it. Well, he closed the door on him being the reason.
I feel like most of the time that is his default mechanism. He's like, what could I have done better here? And he doesn't want to throw guys under the bus, but he hits boiling points every now and then, and I think he hit one there. And I know that's the right answer. It's what you do there. Yeah. It goes back to him being a great teammate. But I think that was one of the boiling points, and I think that's why there's going to be changes.
No, it had nothing to do with him. It was just I was frustrated we had guys open. Yeah. Well, why didn't you throw to the guys open? Oh, because you were laying.
Back.
Yeah, they were laying on the ground. Yeah. Why were you laying on the ground again?
Somebody just put the ground
man.
there.
It
shouldn't have done it.
If the ground wasn't there, then I would have just fallen through the earth. So why did I land on the ground? Talk to the groundskeepers. It's their fault.
It was a sinkhole.
Talk to the keepers of the ground.
Yeah, right? All right. Are you the gatekeeper? Because I'm the keymaster. Jesus. Okay, who brought the dog? Andy Reid's going to talk at 1 o'clock along with Xavier Worthy and Creed Humphrey. We'll hear what they have to say about this Chargers matchup. Andy Reid when he gets up to the podium along with Xavier Worthy and Creed Humphrey. It's a fast Friday for Andy Reid, so better listen in.
It's good to have a fast Friday on a Friday for once, because a lot of times it's on other days.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Fast
Fast
Friday
Friday.
last week.
Yeah, that was a Wednesday. It was a fast Friday but it was a regular Andy Reid press conference, even though it was kind of a fast Friday, but they used it as a regular press conference because he didn't talk on Monday. You get the point. But it is a typical fast Friday for Andy. We'll hear from Xavier Worthy and also Creed Humphrey when they get to the podium as they get set for the Chargers on Sunday. Los Angeles Chargers.
Los Angeles Chargers. Kendall's got to figure it out. It's been several years now.
Well, he said it, and then I almost said it. So what about L.A.? You know what I mean? Like, it has been. Yeah, I still can't call them the Rays. They're always going to be the Devil Rays to me. I don't get it.
I'll pause still before the Raiders a little bit, but I feel like I'm a year away from not pausing. Just Vegas Raiders.
Well, only because I've had to think about where the Raiders are my whole life anyway.
I know, right?
L.A. or they're in Oakland. Well, no, they're back in. Are they in Oakland now?
Oh, they're moving. That's them, though. That's so them.
So I said they're waiting for their forever home. They've got a really nice one now. Maybe it will be the forever home, but the neighborhood feels weird for them right now. You know?
I don't say Southwest Missouri State anymore. I've gotten that out of my system years ago. Missouri State.
I say Southwest.
Do
Missouri
you?
State.
Do you still?
I don't, but sometimes it makes people mad. So I don't know. I'm just joking. Here's Andy Reid.
Up on them, and so we're evaluating it right now. This was right after our meeting, so before we got on the field. So we'll just see where he's at with that, and then look forward to the challenge of playing the Chargers. Good football team. We understand that but we look forward to bringing them here to GH Field at Arrowhead. So with that time period.
What's the plan for DJ Humphries?
Yeah, I'm gonna just evaluate. I'm gonna stick with what I told you before, that he took some reps. But let's just see how he ends up after today, and then we'll go from there. But we've kind of rotated guys in there, but it's he did take some reps, and he made it through yesterday. Good. So we'll see how it went today.
Is everything okay for Juwan to play this week?
Yeah, Juwan practiced today. Yeah.
Andy, Tom Lally is going to be honored on Sunday during halftime. What was it like for you coaching him, and just what kind of player was he?
Yeah, it was a pleasure. 100 miles an hour every play, practice, game. That's how he rolled. And I got him when he was a little bit older, but he was something, boy. What a motor. Great player.
Andy, from what you know about Hardman right now, any chance he can play?
I don't know that. I mean, they're literally evaluating. So we'll just see where it goes.
Andy, I'm sure you saw that he was on Eric Bieniemy yesterday. He was around the team quite a bit last year through the playoff run. Is there any possibility you would do that again with him this year?
Yeah, I haven't even gone that direction. I mean, I haven't thought about it. He's dealing with all that stuff, and that's where his mind needs to be. So I had a chance to talk to him. But that's a load to handle just in itself. So I'll leave it there.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
All right, there's Andy Reid. McCole Hardman's knee locked up on him during a meeting after practice, and he's being evaluated right now. Andy Reid did not elaborate and said, that's all we know. I mean, he's being evaluated right now. Talking about DJ Humphries, what the plan is there. He said, I'm going to keep it as I said earlier. We're just taking this day by day. Worked with the ones. Other guys worked in there as well, but we'll see. You know, he came out of practice yesterday feeling good. We'll see how he came out of practice today. It's a walkthrough. I'd hope he feels all right. But then again, McCole Hardman practiced, and then his knee locked up on him in one of the meetings. So, again, Matt Derrick said that DJ Humphries is going to be starting this weekend. We'll see what happens with that. Here is a man we know is starting, Creed Humphrey.
You guys these past 2 weeks?
Yeah, good. DJ's the guy. He has a ton of experience. He's ready. He's coming in. He's been working. So, it's good to have guys like that in the room that are, ready to work, get after it and everything. So he fits right in.
No confirmation yet on whether he'll go, but should he be the guy? What can Joe do in situations where, maybe he needs a little bit of a nudge here and there?
Yeah, it's one of those things. DJ's an experienced guy. He understands concepts and stuff very well. So if he's the one that's going to be going, then he's going to be fine. I think the good thing about our room is that communication's really good. everybody plays well together, everybody talks, and no one's ever out there and by themselves. So whoever's going to be out there is going to be ready to roll.
Creed, what have you seen just from the success of your running game throughout the season has maybe altered the way defenses maybe are looking for it? What in real time can you notice about that?
Yeah, I think teams have started to blitz a little bit more, things like that. We were running the ball pretty well the first part of the season, and we're trying to get back to that, kind of just continuing to work on things, all this, and I think teams are having to respect the run a lot more this season, so we'll see where it goes from there, but we're having fun doing it.
And what do you just see from the Chargers? Obviously have some name recognition on the D-line, but what really stands out about them?
Yeah, they're a deep D-line. Obviously you have Khalil, you have Joey, who are phenomenal players, but they have a ton of great guys besides them too. So they present a really good challenge. Really good linebackers too. They're fast. They fly around too. So it's a really good front seven, and we're gonna have a work cut out for us, but ready to roll.
Anything else? Thanks, Creed.
Yep.
All right, Creed Humphrey. DJ Humphreys knows the concepts, understands those things, and whoever's out there, they've got trust that those guys will be able to come through and do the job they're supposed to do against the Chargers on Sunday night. So, and Joe Tooney's pretty good too, so he could help. And a good front seven for the Chargers.
If DJ can be plural Humphrey, right? If he can be more than Creed Humphrey, that'd be great. He could be two Humphrey.
Well, Creed last name might now turn to Humphreys because they're plural too, right? Is that why DJ Humphreys?
No, I think they're separately. They're spelled differently.
Still different. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But if you said both of them together, it would be the Humphreys.
Yeah.
The apostrophe goes to the in.
2 apostrophes this time.
Oh, okay.
Before and after the S.
Yeah, duh. I mean, it's possessive and plural.
It is both. Call finally.
Yay, we finally found it. Take that, English teachers.
Yeah, the English teachers all over are just screaming.
That is so wrong. That is so wrong. You guys are leading people astray. Yeah, I know.
They could be like combined. DJ Creed Humphreys is
DJ Creed.
DJ Creed.
DJ Creed.
Yeah.
And he just mixes Creed songs.
Yeah.
That's all
arms wide open.
And
then
DJ Creed.
That's right. How's he going to block? With arms wide open.
But not outside the framework, of course, because then you can get some holding calls.
Hey, DJ, what are you going to do with this offense? Wanna take it higher.
Hold me now.
They only perform.
No, don't. That's the problem. They were holding calls.
They only perform at halftime of Dallas Cowboys games.
And it's obviously clearly just a CD that's being blasted through. It's all pre-recorded. But he's going to swing through. Creed Humphrey and DJ are going to swing through on those little mechanisms. I don't even know what those things were.
They're like curtains. Yeah,
I like the mechanism works. Curtains. As we wait for Xavier Worthy.
That's my sacrifice.
So is everybody else waiting for Xavier Worthy. It's a sacrifice we're all making together, and I feel like we'll be better for it. We'll learn from it. We'll grow. And we'll get better because of it. But Xavier Worthy, learning, growing, hopefully getting better along the way, and hopefully that connection will hook up on Sunday between Patrick Mahomes.
I think I need him to get a couple more receiving touchdowns for the ZOUs.
You need 3 more.
3 more, yeah.
It's at 4. We put it over under
for the offensive line. Offensive line.
I think I'm not going to be the last gazelle being eaten by the lion in this one, regardless.
It feels like I might be.
Yeah.
Sterling right now is wounded.
You're a wounded buffalo.
Yes.
Dragging that back leg,
and
bleeding, just inviting the creatures of the jungle to come get you.
Yeah, what he needs to have happen
is it a ruse? It could be a ruse.
What you need to have happen is while you are wounded, you need somebody in front of you to get hurt even worse running away that they can't move, and then you go past them.
Oh, no, what I'm doing is I'm wounded, and someone's going to come back to help. It's all a ruse, and I take off the prosthetic, and then I then get the other buffalo.
It's the WWE script.
I rip it off, and I'm like, I'm fine. Like it's
you're gonna die.
The Undertaker.
I think that happens all the time in the safari.
In the safari, in nature.
I see.
Or is that nurture?
I see leg braces on gazelle all the time.
Yeah, they deke them like that all the time.
Yes, it's like, gotcha, you dumb buffalo. You're so stupid, you lion. You know what I was doing? I was lying. And you are now going to go hungry and die. I was trying to think of, I I actually had something to bring to the table there that was Chiefs related. But then we got into that.
Hey, the
conversation
pregame
about
show is
that.
going to start at 5 o'clock
Is
on Sunday on
Thank
KSHB
God.
41.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yep. And on Westwood One, the pregame show will start at 6:30
There we go.
right here on Sports Radio 810.
So you can watch.
That's right.
And then listen.
And Red, Gold, and Bold podcast, our postgame, will be there, and it'll be podcasted after the show is over as well. Jack Johnson, he'll be rocking that one for you on Sunday night, late night. Dylan, sorry about that, man. It's a late night for you on Sunday.
It's all right.
Are you
know,
guys
I've
post-gaming?
kind of come to the
Post-gaming?
realization that even though
from that.
I will be up late, it's much better than like a 12 o'clock game full schedule every year like some teams have. So you can't complain about having primetime matchups.
Yeah, that's true. And you get to watch football throughout the day, you know. So
That too.
You get to enjoy that in the witching hour and everything. And
last Sunday was my kind of break, a nice little Sunday
That's
off where I
true.
got to just sit there and watch every game.
Yeah, that was your Black Sunday. You know, everybody else was, you know, enjoying Black Friday and shopping and everything, and you were working. Mick, you had the day off too on Friday.
No, I did not.
What?
No,
Oh, you had to work too? Oh, that's interesting.
Did not
Yeah.
take advantage of any of those sales.
So how does somebody like yourself that has to leave the game early to get out to the parking
Yeah,
lot?
it sucks.
How does somebody like you know what's going on there?
I
at the
don't. I
end?
just guess.
Oh, okay. That's-
Especially at the end when the last
Yeah.
play happened.
Yeah.
I texted you guys. Is that
Oh,
what you're
what?
getting
What's
to?
that?
Yes.
I felt bad
I
for
was-
you, man, because I'm like, oh, that's right, because he didn't see any of that because he had to leave and get out there to the truck and the
Yeah.
set to do the post game that goes on right after it.
So we see what's happening probably, I don't know, a minute later. In our ears, we're hearing the broadcast, but it's only like a 30-second delay. And then we hear the crowd in real time. We're always trying to guess. We're like, that was a good Chiefs play, or maybe that was an incompletion by the Raiders. Can't quite tell. And so I was piecing it all together.
Did you guess this one by the reaction? Because I would guess there was like a loud reaction and then an unknown of what's going on.
So when they're
A
debating,
murmur?
at first, we thought they blew the play dead. And false start, it's going to be 5 yards back. So we were trying to figure out how long this field goal going to be. And then the roar of the crowd is like, did they just give the ball to the Chiefs? And so then that was like, okay, it must have been illegal shift or illegal motion. That's when I started texting you guys because I'm going to have to go on right after this game and be a kind of a quasi-expert on what just happened. Is what I think just happened. Did that happen?
I am so glad
appreciate
it
you guys
was
were there.
Jason that texted back first because I was getting ready to text, but I was also in a pool and many beverages deep.
Yeah.
And so
I wish you should have tapped out of that one.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Well, that's why he was able to send it first. I'm like one
wish-
eye in the pool, just like, okay, it was illegal.
I wish
How many
I
L's
would
are
have
in
left
illegal?
my phone and ran upstairs real quick and didn't get back to and then you would have actually responded to him to see what he would have said on the air based on your drunken tweets.
I had
Or
other texts out, so I sent
Okay, very
out to
good.
Nick Jacobs as well. He filled in the gaps of like, yeah, he was clapping, but like at a receiver.
There you go.
The guard thought he was clapping for the snap and called for it, and that's why it hit him in the chest.
By the way, I know a lot
believe
of
we're gonna have
people
Xavier
are
Worthy soon.
talking about
Xavier Worthy right now. Sorry, shut up, Sterling.
Against a pass defense that came away with 4 interceptions last week. What do you see going up against the Chargers?
Right, like when we played them about, I forgot what week was that, like week 5, they're week 4, they're a good unit, so we know that coming in and just get ready, prepared. We had a good week of practice, so we're ready.
As you enter these final 5 games, you think back like to the beginning of the season. How far do you feel like you've come in that time?
Mentally, over the aspects like just learning from like the older guys like Juju and D-Hop and just getting the feel for everything and running it now. I feel like kind of more. I'm coming in full speed on my routes, not really thinking about a lot. So I feel like that was really like my big development.
Pat has mentioned that chemistry has really developed. Are you feeling that on your end, and in what ways do you see that?
Yeah, just the timing on everything. You know, coming into a new system, you throw to so many different receivers, and then now you have this new guy coming in, so you got to build that chemistry. And I feel like now it's week 13, we catch them all. So now we're just getting that chemistry together. It's good.
Anything else?
So your chance to, clinch a division title would be your first. How much is that, talked about on the checklist of things you guys want to accomplish on the season?
Right. Obviously, it's a main goal just to get to the playoffs, and then end goal is to win the championship. But it's a big step. Just to go out there. The main thing for us this week is just to go out there and have fun, not think about the championship.
Anything else? Thanks, Xavier.
All right, there's a Fast Friday for Creed, Xavier Worthy. That was fast. Xavier Worthy typically is fast, and that was pretty fast. So there you go, Xavier Worthy. Dylan, are we taking a break, or are we going to do sad fans here in this segment? You want to do sad fans right now? All right, so we'll get our breakdown of the Chiefs and Chargers in the next segment. We'll also see who's lighting it up. We got cuts today as well. But let's get some sad fans, Raiders edition from last week. It's been a week in waiting. Here is our sad fans on Reddit, Raiders Part 2. And now things Raiders fans said on Reddit. Well, the one thing we had going for us is that we didn't have the worst coach in the NFL, but now the Bears just fired Eberflus. Al just called us the Oakland Raiders. Let's go, boys. Sorry, guys, I don't think we're tanking. I think we just might be a bad team. Reply, we can be both. Anyone else having a hard time understanding Kirk Herbstreit with Mahomes' in his mouth? I heard him just fine. Our defensive backs look less coordinated than Sean Bradley running around the field.
Sean Bradley catches a stray.
Wow.
Great pull. The worst part about playing the Chiefs in primetime isn't even the chances of being embarrassed. That doesn't even faze me anymore. But having to hear all the stupid anecdote shit about the Chiefs, I don't give a f*** about Spag's wife's banana pudding.
Did they talk about that?
Yes.
They did. That's
Imagine if we had a running back with eyes and a quarterback with regular testosterone levels.
Low T?
Does Antonio Pierce not have a challenge? Reply, his challenge is his coaching.
Saw that one coming.
F*** the tank, f*** the Chiefs. A lot of that. Better game than I expected. No matter what happens, I'm content. Edit. I lied. You know we're playing well when Al still thinks we're in Oakland. Brock Bowers might have more hair on his forearms than he has up top. He might. Brain, win this and the Raiders drop to the 9th pick. You don't want this. Heart, f*** the Chiefs, f*** the pick. You make a field goal, Daniel. I'm done with Al and Herbstreit. I don't even speak Spanish, but I'm switching the audio. I'm going to laugh so hard when we win this game, put ourselves out of position for a quarterback of the future in case he goes on to win the Super Bowl, and then Mahomes says something about how taking the L on Black Friday was a real wake-up call. Reply, nah, man, I believe in this team. There's still plenty of time to lose. For some reason, this looks promising. I think I'm ready to be hurt again. I like that Daniel Carlson says, that the tank is still on. You guys want a hotshot rookie QB or not? This may end up being a disaster. We're going to win this game and end up with the 8th pick, and Sam Darnold is our quarterback next season. Gut-wrenching. Such a dumb moment at the worst time. So close to embarrassing them and ended up embarrassing ourselves. Real. Hey, guys, I just wanted to say f*** the refs, f*** the Chiefs, and f*** the NFL. Thanks.
Scheduled.
Went in not caring as I embraced the tank. Got excited in the final 2 minutes. Got really excited with 14 seconds left. Of course, the Raiders find a way to disappoint. Another annoying-ass loss. Reply, satisfaction of beating the Chiefs plus the loss? You couldn't ask for a better result. You get to blame the refs. We were going to beat you if it wasn't. Not a surprise, the refs winning it for the Chiefs once again. Reply, more like Antonio Pierce losing it for the Raiders once again. Reply, well, both are correct. Excuse my language, but get refs. Bruh, they really saw the Bears ending and said, we can top that bullshit. And now, the runner-up to things Raiders fans said on Reddit. If we start this season with a healthy D, Farva, Madison, and no Getsy, we're having a different conversation right now. Reply, about who to pick at 7 instead of 2? That would be different.
Yeah.
And now the winner of things Raiders fans said on Reddit. This game has proven Antonio Pierce has not lost the locker room yet. Reply, that's because this locker room is f***ing dumb. Oh, there you go. Sad fans, Reddit, Raiders Part 2.
There were 2 receivers moving at the snap.
Dude,
what are we talking about?
Trying to filter through the 90% of the posts are just getting screwed. Refs did it again. The refs got together and decided what was the best thing for the Chiefs.
Well, they got together. They might not have seen it, but the eye up top did. Like, yeah, it's a legal motion. They were moving at the snap.
Also, looking, every week, the amount of people from different fan bases that show up and go, "You guys got totally screwed, man. I'm sorry, man. This was ridiculous, dude. You guys got totally screwed. The NFL, bleep it." Like, it's every week. There's like a person from every fan base. Yeah. It's like, you guys got totally screwed, dude. It's the refs, man.
I just, again, always love that the conspiracy is the NFL rigs it for Kansas City, not New York, not Dallas, not Dallas, or maybe the biggest fan base is Dallas, not Chicago.
The worst teams are in New York.
Yeah, not L.A.
Right, where they're headquartered.
That's what the script says. Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. Who's lighting it up? We also have our thoughts on the Chiefs and Chargers, Mizzou, KU on Sunday, college football conference championship weekend. We've got all of that for you right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB and the cuts as well. More Zone next. until 2 o'clock. Do want to let you know about, Sports Radio 810 and ESPN KC, the home of everything that's swell, that Todd Lebo likes to say. Coming up tonight, we have, right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, we've got the Tailgate Show at 6 o'clock, Chiefs Tailgate Show, and then at 7 o'clock, AAC Conference Championship game, Tulane taking on Army. And then tomorrow, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning, Big 12 Championship game, the pregame, right here on Sports Radio 810, 11 o'clock kick, Arizona State, Iowa State, leading into the SEC Championship game at 3 o'clock with Georgia and Texas, leading into the Big 10 Championship game at 7 o'clock with Penn State and Oregon, while on ESPN Kansas City, the ACC Championship game at 7 o'clock with SMU and Clemson, on into Sunday with the Central Bank of the Midwest pregame show Sunday morning, KU pregame at 10:30, KU-MU tip at noon, leading into then at 3:30, Bills and Rams, leading into Sunday Night Football pregame, and then Red and Gold postgame show, while on ESPN Kansas City on Sunday, Cleveland and Pittsburgh at noon, Bears 49ers at 3:05. So if you're going to be thinking about, football at all this weekend and be driving around, I'm assuming it's going to be 8:10 and ESPN Kansas City where your dial will be, because we've got it for you the entire weekend.
8:10, home of everything that swells.
Everything that is really swell and effing great is also something
What
that
was
Todd
that,
Lebo
Mick?
said.
Everything that what?
I said the
That is
slogan.
swell.
That
Everything
swells.
that's really swell is what Todd Lebo said. And 41, what time's your guys' pregame show start on?
5 o'clock. From 5 to 6 o'clock, the National takes over at 6 o'clock and carries until, 7:20 when first kick happens Sunday Night Football, man.
Yep.
I remember when I first got to 41 in 2017, Mahomes wasn't a thing. He was a thing in college, and he wasn't the what he is now, obviously.
So
and
you
the Chiefs
you
were
and
good.
Mahomes coincided.
That's
crazy.
right.
Wow.
I'm the reason.
Well, I got here in 19, and then they've won 3 Super Bowls since. So it's fine.
It's fine.
Nobody
Yeah.
needs to point out who gets the real
They
credit.
needed me, and then they needed you.
Wait a minute.
Right? I was like
when
the
I
Andy
came
Reid,
back
you were the
from
Mahomes.
Philly, though, I think that was the first year they won.
But I was.
So
What year? 2019.
Yeah, so that would have been.
That's the year he came.
Yeah, and I was on
So
the
that was
air.
all of us.
I was on the air. Well, not all of us.
Well, the first year I got to Philly, what happened?
I have no idea.
Or the
They
second year.
won?
The Eagles won the Super Bowl,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there that it could be. It could be me. It could be the hat from the Hallmark movie, but it could be.
Could be you.
It could be me.
I'll just say I got to Louisville, and right when I got there, Kentucky Final Four, Kentucky national title, Louisville
Yeah, but
and
no one
Kentucky
cares about
Final Four.
Kentucky.
I'm just saying it's where I went, though. Louisville won a national title. Kentucky went undefeated and went to the Final Four. That happened in the first 6 years I was there. Then I returned here, Super Bowl, went to the Super Bowl, lost AFC Championship game, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just
Okay,
saying.
well, let's
Mick,
get
5 o'clock is when it starts on Sunday.
That's when. And in 2017, back then, like the Chiefs would get Sunday Night Football game a year. They got 2, I think, that year because they opened up at the Patriots, right? And won that game.
Destroyed 'em.
And so we put all the effort into it, and it was such a big deal, and the station-wide effort, and we still do that for these Sunday night games. But it's like, oh, God, there's another one.
Here's one more.
Every month they got one, and then
we got a
is
Friday
it
one?
Is it flex time? Can they flex into this? Can they maybe flex out of that noon game on a Christmas? No, that's on the books. Okay. God,
I wish the Chiefs had the number 1 seed wrapped up before that game so they could flex their muscles and say, we're going to sit guys on Christmas. Sorry. You're going to put us on Christmas on short rest.
So there's
we're going to
a
sit 'em.
path to that, but I'm guessing they won't since there's like 2 other games after that.
You win the next. There's only one other game after that, so you could rest against against the Steelers
There is
on
only
Christmas
one other one,
and
is it
then
the
play against the
Broncos?
Broncos.
So
True,
your
yeah.
pregame show starts at 5.
At 5, sure.
My pregame starts maybe 9 a.m., 10 a.m. whenever I wake up, and the rum and pineapple starts flowing. So
for that noon
No,
tip.
not a show, not a pregame show.
For that noon tip.
Just a pregame.
For that noon tip.
God, you're so good at drinking, Sterling.
I was being facetious. That was kind of funny. But let's get back to the meat and potatoes
That makes
for who's lighting up.
Also-
and speaking about potatoes, Dan Campbell, the absolute potatoes on that guy to
That's
go
your-
for it. On
That was maniacal last night. What were we doing?
Yeah, those aren't stones. That's meat and potato. That's potatoes.
I'm going to go for a fourth
on
down to get
Dan.
like 5 yards closer for the game-winning field goal.
Yeah,
so that you do not get the ball back.
so
you would
Dan
get the ball
Campbell-
back with 35 seconds left, down by 3, and no timeouts. Or we're going to go for it on 4th down and risk getting stopped and you needing a field goal to win. No, we're going to go for it and say bleep you. We're going to pick it up. Yeah.
So that's my who's lighting up the taters on Dan Campbell.
The taters.
Okay, very good. Yeah, that's a good one. You know what, Dylan, Mick, you guys want to go before me?
No, I don't, because I just learned we were doing this.
Okay,
I
very
got
good.
a quick one. Actually.
Yeah, great.
It was the guy with the cheese grater last night
my
that snuck that
God.
into the game, the Lions fan, and they cut to him after a score, and he's just grating a massive block of cheese onto the field from his first row seat. It's
I don't know if you know about this. This is apparently a thing that he does. I don't know if it's a Twitter thing or if he's done it at a game before, but people were asking on Twitter if he was going to this particular game because they were playing the Packers, right, for Detroit. And he's like, no, I don't have tickets. Well, then apparently the Lions were like, hey, we're going to get you tickets. You're going to be right here. And so that's probably how he was able to sneak a cheese grater. And also, don't forget the cheese. No outside food or beverages are allowed.
Shouldn't be.
He brought in a chunk, a wedge of cheese. So shout out to that guy.
Maybe a whole wheel? Did he get a wheel in there?
If you got a wheel in
maybe
there,
like a block.
that's
I don't know.
impressive.
So this guy, I was not aware of this. This guy, that's what he does. He goes to games and has a cheese grater. Or
I don't know if he does
he's
it
a
all
Lions
the time,
fan,
but he's a
Like-
Lions fan.
Okay.
And I just saw it on the X. This guy he didn't have tickets, and the Lions got this guy tickets because he's known as the cheese grater guy. So, which is hilarious for playing the Packers.
Yeah, no, I saw that. That was crazy. Who's lighting it up for me is, we didn't play this yesterday, so I'm going to play it now, and I'm going to try to, just square peg round hole this one. Bill Murray was on New Heights, and I don't know, sometimes he lights it up, sometimes he doesn't. I'm not sure.
Good.
But
I hope you play the clip I'm thinking of.
The clip, they watched Roadhouse.
Yes, thank
the
you,
boys
Jason.
did. They watched Roadhouse, and they brought it up with Bill Murray that apparently there is this rumor or urban legend about Bill Murray and Roadhouse and Patrick Swayze. Here is the New Heights clip with Bill Murray, and if this rumor about what Bill Murray does every time he sees the movie Roadhouse on TBS, TNT, whatever, here it is.
So we recently reviewed Roadhouse, the original Patrick Swayze film.
Yes.
There is a legend out there. You used to call the husband of Kelly Lynch, who plays Dr. Clay, anytime a particular scene came on with Patrick Swayze on the television. Is this rumor true?
One of the hardest things I ever had to do was to call a friend. And at a late hour, I mean, very, very. And not without some back and forth. Should I, shouldn't I? And as a friend, I did not identify myself, but I just said, hey, as a friend, I think you should probably turn on TBS right now. Because that son of Pat Swayze is slamming it to your wife.
Oh my gosh.
Swayze, may he rest in peace. Did a lot of wonderful things. A beloved guy, but that was wrong what he did.
This is why you're the legend, man.
There's the New Heights. He, Mitch Glazer.
They were in Scrooged together.
He wrote Scrooged, and so they became friends then. And
what a lucky guy, by the way, Mitch Glazer. Well done, nice pull.
Yeah, no kidding. But should I, shouldn't I? As a friend, you should put it on TBS because that son of a
great guy and everything, but what he's doing is
your
wrong.
wife. Every time, so that rumor is true. When Roadhouse would come on TV, he would call Mitch Glazer and tell him, "Turn on TBS. Look what Patrick is doing to your wife."
Well, and Roadhouse,
oh my God,
for the record, came out 3 years before Mitch married Kelly.
Yeah, he was actually married to somebody else at the time when
Yes.
Roadhouse came out. But the reruns, he was married
So good.
when those things went to the reruns. Who's lighting it up for you, Mick?
You know what? I just want to give some condolences to the Fitzmaurice family. Al Fitzmaurice passed away. Would have been 2 days ago. Did you guys know him at all?
Yeah, I knew him.
I knew him a little bit.
Decently, yeah.
What a great human being. What a great guy. He was a really good pitcher for the Royals. Didn't make any All-Star games, but he had a lot of great stories. He told me one about Harmon Killebrew one season, like early 70s, sent him a thank you card at Christmas for his deck because Killebrew had some sort of clause in the contract to where if he got to any certain numbers or whatever, he would get like a bonus. And I guess he just killed Fitzy that season. And so I think they ended up becoming teammates one time. And so he got the bonus.
Yeah.
And with the money, he put in a deck at his house. And the way Fitzy told it was so funny. And he did postgame for us forever at Metro Sports. And I got to know him. I considered him a friend. He was such a good golfer. He was so good. At age 70, he was still playing from the tips.
Mm-hmm.
He would drive it 300 yards. He was so good, a short game and everything. And his son Matt was a great golfer as well. And I would just get humbled whenever I'd go out to a lot of those medical missions, tournaments he would put on, and I would be on his team a few times. He was so good, and it was a perfect dichotomy of, like, he was the locker room guy. He was give you a hard time, right? And he would tell a dirty joke, but then on the other side, he genuinely cared about people,
Yes.
and he would listen to your problems, and he was an emotional guy. He was a creative type. He was a singer-songwriter as well.
He started,
so in touch with that side of himself as well, and really, really cared about people. And so lost a good one with Fitzy there. So shout out to the Fitzmaurice family and the Royals, anybody else that knew Al, because he was a pillar in this community. He stayed in Kansas City after his career, because I think he finished with the Angels, went to the Indians and the Angels after that, but came back to KC, had a great family, and had grandkids similar ages to my kids, and so would see him at the ball field every now and then. And so a great one. Lost a great one in Fitzy.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but that. I didn't know Al very well, other than to say I would see him around the office from time to time. He was part of post games and everything. But when I started hosting Royals post games, he wasn't part of the collection of analysts at that point, so I never got to work with him. But everybody, all they talk about is how charitable he is, how awesome he is, how much he gave back to the community, how much he cared about people, how if there was an event going on for the Royals at anything charity, it's like, well, you know Al's going to be there.
Yeah.
You know Al Fitzmaurice will be there. He'll find time to make sure that he's there for that. So, I mean, you know a lot about a guy when you hear people talk about them, you know, when they've passed, and everybody says the exact same thing about Al Fitzmaurice.
I loved how he was so hard on Royals pitchers, man. He's from the older generation, right, where you should expect to throw 9 innings, maybe plus, right? You go out there, and there's so many times where, like, the Royals pitcher done well, like, I say, you know, we got to really address the pitching on this team. I'm like, well, Greinke threw 7 innings of 1-run ball. He goes, you know what, Mick? Sometimes you just got to throw a shutout. He said that so many times. Sometimes you just got to go out there and throw a shutout. That was his line.
So I just looked it up. Harmon Killebrew versus Al Fitzmaurice. Just to see what it was. Killebrew had 22 at bats against Al Fitzmaurice. He only had 5 hits. 4 home runs. He struck out 5 times and walked 6 times. So he batted .225 against Al Fitzmaurice, but he got on base at .393 and slugged .773 with a 1.1 OPS. 4 of his 5 hits in his career against Al Fitzmaurice were home runs. That's interesting. But Al Fitzmaurice, like, you had a .227 batting average against me, but I slugged almost 800 on you. But that's a great story with Harmon. But yeah, so you know him well, Sterling?
Yeah, just from Big Slick. I knew him from my parents. He was always around. He would golf with my dad every once in a while, and see him here. Obviously, I'd have him on the show. Anytime I would host the evening show, I'd have Al on a good amount. He'd come in the studio and hang out for an hour. He's very, very kind human being. Just like
so kind, and
so fun.
Witty and funny. And in his later years, still hadn't lost any of that sharpness. He he had that long red mane of hair, right?
Yes.
And so we would call him Slugger. And he loved it. He thought it was so funny.
Liked it?
Oh, God, yeah. I'm like, Fitz, you kind of look like Slugger. I know.
I feel like he would be, I don't know the man, but I feel like he would be the guy that would be just embrace those things.
He'd give it and take it, man. That's the best kind of dudes, and he was one of them.
Curtis texted and said, Fitzy, the only Royal to give up a home run to Hank Aaron.
Wow.
That's was it Matt Strom? Whenever somebody gets a home run off him, he goes and buys their baseball card and gets it autographed.
Does he really?
Because Strom is a huge baseball card collector, so he's got
sense.
Thousands and thousands and thousands. So in the off season, he travels around and does like these shows where
It'd
they
be funny
open
if you
up
just met him
boxes
at
of
home
cards.
plate with the card.
So anytime you get a home run off it, he goes and gets your card and has you sign it. He's
That's
got a collection at his home with all of his other baseball cards and everything. So it's probably easier for him to get an autographed card than other people. I don't know. Maybe Matt Strom. Yeah, I bet it's easier for him to have a pretty awesome collection of baseball cards.
Easier.
Being a guy who's
it's like Mike Trout comes up. Oh, you know what, Mike? It's going to be middle. Where do you want it, Mike? Where do you want this pitch?
I got this rookie card that I really would like you to sign.
I would trade jerseys every single game if you're able to. And if I'm the 53rd guy on the roster, I would shoot my shot with Mahomes or whoever every single time. Take a picture and then frame them.
And then sell them.
Yeah.
Did you see Grady Dick and...
oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's been some good ones.
That was a good one. All right, let's. Who do we think's going to win this weekend? Chiefs and Chargers. You got a score in mind, Sterling?
28-27. Normally, I feel like I'm the lower scoring guy.
Who wins?
I think I'm going a little higher scoring this time around. I think the Chiefs' offense, I think they're really close. I know I've been saying this probably a couple weeks now, but I do think they're really close. Red zone has kind of regressed the past few weeks, but I think the offensive line changes will be enough to give Patrick time. The wide receivers are really coming on strong. Defense, I have some concerns about, especially going up against Justin Herbert, and Ladd McConkey should be playing in this one. 28-27.
All right.
Kansas City.
Mick?
I think it's a lower scoring game like it was the first time around. I didn't know until recently. Maybe they should look at the numbers again, but is the math right? The Chargers are the lowest scoring the defense in the NFL.
Yes.
Doesn't seem right. But so I'll go lower, and I think the Chiefs lose. They're not going to learn any lessons until they lose one of these games. So I'm going to go 20-17 Chargers.
Boo. Dylan, 2017 Chargers?
No, I'm going to go...
Oh, do it.
I'm going to go 17-13 Chargers.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like
17-20. I was going to dive through that glass.
I didn't want to beat that dead horse. We've hit that
You going to the Chargers, though?
I am going to go with the Chargers.
I'm going lower scoring as well. I'm going 20-13 Chiefs.
You sound sad about that. You're like,
you have a cover.
Yeah, I'm not excited at any time. 4.
Chiefs favored?
Yeah, and 43.5.
Oh, God. Well, they're just giving them away money again. Like they were the
are.
13.5 last week.
Although I'm sitting here taking them -7. So, yeah, well, we'll see. They'll win and not cover, and then they'll do that next week against Cleveland and on into New Orleans in February and win and not cover. And people go, that's the most fraudulent Super Bowl winner I've ever seen in my life.
You know what the most fraudulent Super Bowl winner is?
Who?
A Super Bowl winner. It's a Super Bowl.
Right,
It's
it's like who finishes last at doctor school is still called a doctor.
Still a doctor.
Yeah, that's right. the week. Let's cut it up.
No, let's cut it up.
Let's get some cuts in before we call it a day, huh? Before we call it
I
a
love
day.
Fridays. Like every segment is stuff that I don't have to.
You don't have to do anything. Yeah,
for,
I know.
you
We just sort of mail it in here.
Yeah.
Here are the cuts. Go ahead, Dylan.
And then you can feel the front.
I mean, just say he was.
Wow, why would he say that,
He
man?
wasn't talking about that.
I'm not getting tested.
Yep.
I could roid up. I'll Barry Bonds it.
There you go. Hey, you know what? That's fine. You're not kidding.
Allegedly Barry Bonds in it. Sorry, Barry. Sorry, Barry.
I don't think you have to say allegedly anymore.
I still think you have
You'd
to
say allegedly for yourself more so
Yeah,
than
should
to
be.
Barry.
Where do you get steroids, by the way?
I don't
Can
know.
You just
I
go
just-
get them and do them.
I'll tell you after the show.
Okay, thanks.
Is it illegal?
As you can tell, my physique.
Is there a sponsor on the show for him?
I got the hookup. Hey, keep going.
For Dallas Cowboys to win their first game at home, that Jerry Jones could consider this an absolute glory hole.
God, who said that?
And I'll let you go at that.
Jera, thank you for the phone
Jera.
call, man. We had Jera.
Rack 'em.
Drop a Jera. Keep going. Unbelievable. So there you go. It's the Bengals this
You're
try.
pretty charitable. I appreciate it. Merry Christmas.
Yes, Tim, to you as well. It was nice.
What
We
happened?
gave him like 7 hints.
We gave him a lot of
On everybody wins.
Oh, God, I'm glad I don't listen to that game show anymore.
Give me a punter who lays the wood.
Oh, boy.
What?
With proper technique. And yeah, I got to mark that. You're right.
Both of you. Way to barrel on in there, Dylan. Nice job. Keep going. I want to see Bobby Witt lead off the bottom of the ninth as batting first, and then hit a double, and then come in and bat second, and have to actually put a ghost runner at second.
I want to see Rob Manfred work at Denny's. So.
Pretty good.
Great job. The golden at bat.
A funny thing for once, and not just a sexual innuendo.
Yep.
He's 57, so give him one more
yeah.
year, and Jake Paul might fight him.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Who are you talking about?
Not even sure, but somebody that's old that Jake Paul will fight. Keep going, Dylan.
Blaming Andy when it should probably be more on Brett Veach.
Did you call him moron, Brett Veach?
Stop that.
But
no,
I just
why
said,
would you do
I
that?
said the same thing.
Moron.
I said, why'd you call him moron Brett
man.
Veach, dude?
More
What do you-
comma space on.
Moron Brett Veach? Jeez Louise. I
Wow.
think he's pretty smart. I disagree with Sterling. Do we have any more before we run out of time?
Well, he doesn't. It's Anders. Yeah.
It's Anders. Oh, my. Okay.
It's not Anders. It's Anders. It's a hard
I
on.
knew you were gonna go there. Freaking-
Good one.
I just knew
What?
it. I saw it. I saw it.
Mile
It
away.
was right there. It was like
What?
train down the track, and I was tied to the track, and I couldn't get out.
Anders, not Anders. It's a hard on.
We heard it the first time. Heard it the first time there, guy. All right. And now the train just barreled right through the person. Now they're in 3. 3. Thanks, Mick.
You bet.
Bye,
How do
everybody.
I pronounce it? Boner? Is that how I pronounce it?
Anders.
Oh.
Go. Bye. Dylan.